Chapter 966. Guang Ling. Senior Brother Guang Ling. Junior Brother Guang Ling. When everyone from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain saw that Guang Ling was heavily injured, they all revealed nervous expressions and came to Guang Ling's side to check on his injuries. At this moment, a blue-clothed elder from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain squatted down beside Guang Ling. After examining Guang Ling's injuries, this half-venerable blue-clothed elder furrowed his brows tightly and remained silent. Seeing the blue-clothed elder remain silent, the people from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain asked anxiously, "Supreme Elder Fu Chang, how are Guang Ling's injuries?" Sigh. Guang Ling's physical injuries aren't serious, but the damage to his willpower is extremely serious. Supreme Elder Fu Chang sighed when he heard that. He revealed a helpless expression and said in a deep voice, "If Guang Ling can't walk out from this blow, I'm afraid that a demon will form in his heart and it will greatly affect his cultivation today. It might even cause his achievements in this lifetime to stop here." Clang clang clang. When they heard Supreme Elder Fu Chang's words, the disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain were instantly enraged, and they all pointed their swords at Emo Qingyun. However, Guang Ling, who was lying on the ground, was indifferent towards the actions of the disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. He stared blankly at the sky. When they saw Guang Ling's actions, the anger in the hearts of the people from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain couldn't help but become more intense. Emo Qingyun was truly too ruthless. He directly crushed Guang Ling's martial heart, causing him to be unable to recover from the setback and lose his will to fight. "Kid, I'm going to kill you." A disciple of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain with a cultivation at the peak of the 6th level of the Divine Power Realm brandished the longsword in his hand and slashed at Emo Qingyun. He wanted to avenge Guang Ling. "Chen Huai, don't be rash. You're not his match." When he saw this youth's actions, a white-robed youth from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain raised his hand to stop him. "Senior Brother Shui Weiyang, you must kill this kid and avenge Senior Brother Guang Ling." When he saw the white-robed youth's actions, Chen Huai revealed an expression of grief and indignation as he spoke those words. After that, Chen Huai stopped attacking Emo Qingyun, and he turned around and walked behind Shui Weiyang. "Don't worry, I will definitely avenge Guang Ling." Shui Weiyang indifferently nodded her head in response to Chen Huai's words. She took a step forward and lifted her head towards the elders of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. "Seniors of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, we have come to congratulate the reopening of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. Now that my junior has been seriously injured, shouldn't you give us an explanation?" When they saw Shui Weiyang's actions, the expressions of everyone changed, and they started whispering to each other. Shui Weiyang is indeed the brain of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. With just a few words, the Sky Pool Sacred Mountain was dragged into the water. This move is truly ruthless. You're all underestimating Shui Weiyang. He seems to be forcing the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain to attack Emo Qingyun, but in reality, he's warning the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain not to interfere. Based on what you've said, could it be that Shui Weiyang intends to personally deal with Emo Qingyun? Naturally. With Emo Qingyun's powerful background, the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain will not really kill Emo Qingyun. Looks like Shui Weiyang is certain that the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain will not kill Emo Qingyun. Therefore, he wants to use this to force the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain to not interfere, so that he can kill Emo Qingyun. Shui Weiyang's move is truly ruthless. He's directly cut off Emo Qingyun's escape route. If that's the case, I'm afraid that Emo Qingyun will be in trouble. The Sky Sword Sacred Mountain has quite a number of people here. Looking at the white-robed youth below, the expressions of the surrounding people who were familiar with him changed drastically. While the crowd was whispering to each other, the elders of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain revealed a difficult expression. They did not know how to respond to Shui Weiyang. It was clearly impossible for them to make a move against Emo Qingyun. But if they didn't express their stance right now, Wouldn't others misunderstand and think that they were protecting Mo Qingyun? It had to be said that Shui Weiyang's words were too vicious. They directly hit the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain's weak spot. Seeing the expressions of the elders of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and looked at Shui Weiyang. He said indifferently, "This matter has nothing to do with the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. It's just that I personally don't like the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. If you want to make a move, come at me. You can choose to fight me one-on-one or as a group." Mo Qingyun's words caused the expressions of the surrounding people to change drastically. Every one of them revealed a look of shock. Mo Qingyun's words were too arrogant. In the Heavenly Soul Continent, there were only a handful of people who dared to provoke the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. Even the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain would not dare to fight the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain head-on unless they had no other choice. "Brat, you sure talk big. Do you think the Blood Refiner Demon King is enough to protect you?" Elder Fu Chang from the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain said angrily when he saw Mo Qingyun's arrogance. "Crouching Tiger, Domineering Spear, for the future of the Heavenly Soul Continent, the three of us will work together to destroy the Blood Refiner Demon King and this little demon." "Good. This old man would like to experience the skills of the famous Blood Refiner Demon King from 1,000 years ago. Crouching Tiger, this old man has the same intention." Upon hearing Half-Sovereign Fu Chang's suggestion, Half-Sovereign Tiger and Half-Sovereign Domineering Spear smiled darkly and moved to Half-Sovereign Fu Chang's side. After seeing this scene, everyone's expression changed drastically. Their expressions became grave. The Beast Sacred Mountain, Sky Spear Sacred Mountain, and Sky Sword Sacred Mountain were prepared to work together to deal with Mo Qingyun and the Blood Refiner Demon King. If that was the case, Mo Qingyun and the others would be in an even more precarious situation. Even though Qi Lian's fame had spread far and wide, the crowd still did not believe that he could win against three half-venerables by himself. If Qi Lian couldn't suppress the three demigods, then Mo Qingyun and the others wouldn't stand a chance against Shui Weiyang and the others. Seeing the scene before them, Song Luo and the others had the same thought as the people around them. Their expressions all turned grave. At this moment, if it weren't for the scene in Mo Qingyun town, there was no need for the people from the three divine mountains to make a move. In contrast to Song Luo and the others' worries, Mo Qingyun and Qi Lian were indifferent. They didn't see the three demigods as a threat at all. "Song Luo, take everyone to the side. Leave this to me and Qi Lian." Mo Qingyun glanced at Fu Chang and the others before he spoke to Song Luo behind him. Then, he lifted his foot and walked forward. Qi Lian didn't hesitate when he saw Mo Qingyun walking forward. He quickly followed behind Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun took a couple of steps forward before turning his head to look at Qi Lian beside him. He instructed, "Qi Lian, you will delay the three great half-sovereigns for a moment. Once I finish off the other people from the three great divine mountains, I will come and assist you. Young lord, don't worry. Even though the three demigods aren't weak, this old servant is confident that he can suppress them." Qi Lian smiled and replied confidently when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. "All right, let's fight." Chapter 967. When Mo Qingyun attacked Shui Weiyang, Qi Lian did not hesitate and attacked Fu Chang and the other two demigod venerables. Seeing Mo Qingyun attack Shui Weiyang, the faces of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain's disciples sank. They held their swords and slashed at Mo Qingyun. Form the Nine Temples demon-slaying sword formation. Shui Weiyang's face was cold when she saw the people behind her unsheathing their swords and attacking. As soon as she finished speaking, Shui Weiyang no longer hesitated. She held her sword and formed a sword formation with the others. Soon, Shui Weiyang and the 17 disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain formed two sword formations with imposing auras. As the two sword formations formed, Shui Weiyang's face turned serious again. She instructed the disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, Combine the two formations and form the Yin-Yang Nine Temples demon-slaying sword formation. Yes. After receiving Shui Weiyang's instructions, the disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain responded and exchanged positions with each other. Soon, Shui Weiyang and the other 17 disciples of the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain formed a Tai Chi sword formation. Following the formation of the sword formation, an even more terrifying aura erupted from it and enveloped the entire martial arts practice field. At the same time, 2 streaks of yin-yang sword chi, one black and one white, erupted from the yin-yang Nine Temples demon-slaying sword formation. After the yin-yang sword chi erupted, it bombarded Mo Qinyun and instantly destroyed the 5-colored sword radiance that Mo Qinyun had slashed out. Sword formation. Seeing Shui Weiyang and the others attack, Mo Qinyun could not help but frown. His expression turned serious. He could feel that the power of the Yin-Yang Nine Temples demon-slaying sword formation was enough to threaten an ordinary demigod venerable expert. Looks like I need to show some trump cards to deal with Shui Weiyang and the others. Mo Qinyun waved the colorless sword to destroy the yin-yang sword chi that was attacking him. At the same time, he thought of a countermeasure. After waving the colorless sword to destroy the yin-yang sword chi, Mo Qinyun's body gently floated back. He stood in the air and stared at Shui Weiyang and the others. At this moment, Shui Weiyang and the others stopped their attacks as well. Each of them looked at Mo Qinyun with sneers on their faces. At that moment, when Mo Qinyun and Shui Weiyang were facing off against each other, the surrounding crowd revealed shocked expressions. That's the Yin-Yang Nine Temples demon vanquishing sword array. It's said that after forming this sword array, the strength of the person forming it will increase tenfold. 10 times? In that case, wouldn't the overall combat strength of Shui Weiyang and the others be comparable to a quasi-exalt? However, it's still a bit difficult to defeat a half-exalted expert. However, it's not difficult to remain undefeated. With Mo Qinyun's level 4 transcendent power, he should be proud of himself for being able to withstand the sword formation of Shui Weiyang and the others. Looking at Mo Qinyun and the others in the center of the square, everyone's expression changed. In their hearts, their evaluation of Mo Qinyun rose once again. A sword array that could threaten a half-step venerable powerhouse had erupted with a powerful attack, but Mo Qinyun had easily neutralized it. From this, it could be seen how extraordinary Mo Qinyun was. While everyone was discussing Mo Qinyun, Shui Weiyang, and the others, a young man from Sacred Beast Mountain wearing a vest made of tiger pelt sneered, "With Mo Qinyun's talent and potential, if he's allowed to grow, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for him to find a match among those of the same cultivation level. Such a person must not be allowed to grow. Am I right, Liang Anju? If even you, Gu Fei, say so, then this brat must not be allowed to live." Hearing the words of the young man in the vest made of tiger pelt, a young man from Sacred Sword Mountain holding a silver spear in his hand revealed a cold smile. After the two exchanged glances, they instantly understood the meaning in each other's eyes. Mo Qinyun must not be allowed to live. He had to die. At this moment, everyone's attention was attracted by the conversation between Gu Fei and the young man. That's the #1 genius of Sacred Beast Mountain, Gu Fei. Rumor has it that he has subdued a monster with the bloodline of the Azure Dragon, the 9-clawed Azure Bull. I heard that Gu Fei's 9-clawed Azure Bull is currently condensing its 8th claw. Once the 8th claw is successfully condensed, it will be comparable to a half-exalt expert. The young man with the silver spear is the #1 genius of Sacred Sky Spear Mountain, Liang Anju. The silver spear in his hand is a top-grade spiritual weapon, the Silver Dragon Spear. Rumor has it that the top-grade spiritual weapon, the Silver Dragon Spear, has been in Sacred Spear Mountain's Spear Pavilion for thousands of years. No one has been able to obtain its recognition. I didn't expect Liang Anju to obtain it. Gu Fei and Liang Anju are both dragons among men. If they also attack Mo Qinyun, Emo Qingyun's situation will be even worse. Recognizing the identity of these two young men, everyone immediately began to talk about their deeds. Their expressions revealed reverence. There was no doubt that the two young men's strength was very strong. They were already close to the older generation's experts. At this moment, when everyone was discussing the deeds of Gu Fei and Liang Enju, Shui Weiyang, who had been confronting Emo Qingyun, finally spoke. Emo Qingyun, your talent is indeed very strong. Even I am ashamed of my inferiority. Looking at Emo Qingyun, who was in front of her, Shui Weiyang expressed her admiration. Her expression turned cold as she said, with your amazing talent, it would be a pity if you were to die like this. Now I will give you a chance to live. As long as you are willing to submit to Sacred Sword Mountain, I can save your life. Submit to Sacred Sword Mountain? Hearing Shui Weiyang's words, Emo Qingyun immediately laughed out loud. His expression was filled with intense mockery as he laughed loudly. I can tell you very clearly that I, Emo Qingyun, will destroy Sacred Sword Mountain in my lifetime. Now you can rest assured and make your move. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Shui Weiyang's expression instantly turned gloomy. The killing intent on her body was extremely intense. In her opinion, Emo Qingyun's current behavior was a great insult to Sacred Sword Mountain. Emo Qingyun, since you are courting death, I will fulfill your wish. Seeing that Emo Qingyun was unwilling to submit, Shui Weiyang did not say anything more. She immediately instructed the people behind her, everyone, attack with all your might. Today, I will let this brat know the price of his arrogance. Yin Yang 9 Temples Demon Vanquishing Sword Array, Yin Yang Infinite Realm. Under Shui Weiyang and the others' attack, the sky above Sacred Sword Mountain's martial arts arena suddenly changed colors and formed a huge Taiji diagram. Once this Taiji diagram was formed, a shocking aura was emitted from it. Streaks of sharp black and white dual-colored sword lights burst forth. As these black dual-colored sword lights appeared, they rapidly descended from the sky like a storm and bombarded Emo Qingyun with powerful attacks. Devouring Gate. In the face of the storm-like sword rain, Emo Qingyun did not hide his strength anymore. He immediately unleashed his martial soul super skill, Devouring Gate. Immediately after, a terrifying black hole vortex formed above Emo Qingyun at an extremely fast speed. After the black hole whirlpool appeared, a shocking suction force exploded from it and sucked in the sword rain. What is this skill? It actually broke the Yin Yang 9 Temples Demon Vanquishing Sword Array's Yin Yang Infinite Realm. Seeing the Devouring Gate above Emo Qingyun, Shui Weiyang and the others' expressions changed and they were shocked. Emo Qingyun's current performance had greatly exceeded their expectations. Chapter 968. The Yin Yang Sword Qi was absorbed by the Devouring Gate and was quickly converted into Yin Yang Origin Energy, which was transferred into Emo Qingyun's body. Sensing the Yin Yang Origin Energy that was transferred into his body, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately refined it. Seeing Emo Qingyun's action, Shui Weiyang and the others' expressions changed drastically and their eyes were filled with fear. Shui Weiyang could not imagine that their powerful attack was used by Emo Qingyun to cultivate. You're refining the Yin Yang Origin Energy in the Yin Yang Infinite Realm? Shui Weiyang's face was filled with shock as he stared at Emo Qingyun with his eyes wide open. He could not believe this scene for a long time. This kind of thing was simply too strange for him. Shui Weiyang and the others did not dare to hesitate and immediately removed the energy transfer to the Yin Yang Infinite Realm. It's a pity that I was discovered. Seeing the Taiji diagram disappear in the air, Emo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile as a trace of pity rose in his heart. Then, Emo Qingyun removed the Devouring Gate and looked at Shui Weiyang and the others with an indifferent expression. Then, Emo Qingyun and Shui Weiyang and the others confronted each other again. No one took the initiative to attack. Seeing that Emo Qingyun and the two sides confronted each other again, everyone was shocked and could not recover from the previous scene. What technique did Emo Qingyun use just now? He easily resolved the joint attack of Shui Weiyang and the others. Emo Qingyun's technique not only resolved the joint attack of Shui Weiyang and the others, but also used that attack to cultivate. Are you for real? Are you sure? Shui Weiyang and the others' all-out attack just now, even a half-sovereign expert would have to avoid it. Even a quasi-paragon expert would have to temporarily avoid this attack. Emo Qingyun is actually using it to cultivate. This Emo Qingyun is truly crazy. It seems that we have underestimated Emo Qingyun. His true strength is much stronger than what he has shown. Seeing Emo Qingyun easily neutralize Shui Weiyang's full-force attack, everyone's evaluation of Emo Qingyun rose once again. Looks like we've underestimated Emo Qingyun's talent and potential. This kid will definitely be a disaster if we leave him alive. Seeing Emo Qingyun easily neutralize the combined attack of Endless Snow and the others, Gu Fei's expression turned even uglier. The killing intent radiating from him intensified as well. Even if I were to use my full strength, it would still be very difficult for me to resolve their attack just now. Emo Qingyun is only at the 4th level of the divine ability, yet he could do this so easily. This brat is truly too strange. He really can't be left alive. Liang Unju's expression turned solemn when he heard Gu Fei's words, expressing his agreement with Gu Fei's idea. Gu Fei and Liang Unju's expressions turned cold as they stared at Emo Qingyun like two hungry wolves hiding in the bushes. Emo Qingyun, Endless Snow, and the others did not know what the surrounding people were thinking. They were currently in a stalemate, and none of them chose to make the first move. Although this feeling made Endless Snow and the others very unhappy, they did not dare to make a move after seeing Emo Qingyun's strange method. Since you guys don't dare to make a move, I'll just take the initiative. Emo Qingyun's lips curled into a sneer when he saw Endless Snow and the others not making a move for a long time. His figure rapidly approached Endless Snow as he mocked. I didn't expect Sky Sword Sacred Mountain's disciples to be so cowardly. Over a dozen experts with a cultivation of the divine ability realm are actually scared off by a mere 4th level of the divine ability realm. This is truly a tragedy for Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. Emo Qingyun, you think too highly of yourself. Emo Qingyun, you're too arrogant. Be careful not to be struck by lightning. Shui Weiyang and the others were furious when they heard Emo Qingyun's words. They spoke furiously one after another. Emo Qingyun's words were undoubtedly a great humiliation to them. It was something they could not accept. 8 essences in one. As Shui Weiyang and the others were enraged, a dazzling 8-colored sword light with 8 types of complete origin energies attacked them. Under the flight of the 8-colored sword light, the surrounding space trembled, as if it was about to be destroyed by the 8-colored sword light. Looking at the 8-colored sword light that caused the space to tremble and continuously attack them, Endless Snow and the others' expressions changed drastically. 8 types of perfect innate origin force. How is this possible? Is Emo Qingyun a human? How did he do it? No. This must be an illusion. How could anyone do this? At this moment, the disciples of Sky Sword Sacred Mountain were so frightened that they even forgot to defend themselves. Seeing the reactions of the people around him, Endless Snow looked anxious as he hurriedly shouted to everyone, "Everyone, don't just stand there. Immediately defend against Emo Qingyun's sword." Under Endless Snow's shout, the other 17 disciples of Sky Sword Sacred Mountain immediately recovered from the shock and cooperated with Endless Snow to defend against the 8-colored sword light. Yin Yang 9 Temples Demon Slaying Sword Array, Yin Yang Split. Under the activation of Endless Snow and the other 18 disciples, the Yin Yang 9 Temples Demon Slaying Sword Array suddenly shone with light, and 2 types of Yin Yang origin force, one black and one white, emerged from it. When the two types of yin-yang origin force burst out, it was mixed with the pure yin-yang origin force. It perfectly fused with the yin-yang origin force and turned into a breathtaking sword light. Puchi. When the 8-colored sword light collided with the yin-yang sword light, it immediately produced a muffled sound as a 10-colored light bloomed. When the 10-colored light bloomed, an aura that was enough to make a quasi-venerable expert's expression change instantly erupted from it. After sensing this aura, the expressions of Mo Qingyun, Endless Snow, and the others changed greatly as they hurriedly retreated to avoid the 10-colored light. Die, brat! At this moment, when Mo Qingyun retreated, Gu Fei and Liang Enju moved and launched a sneak attack on him. Roar! A huge green bull with 7 dragon claws flew out from in front of Gu Fei and tore at Mo Qingyun with its 7 dragon claws. Silver Dragon Sky Destroyer Spear, Silver Dragon Lightning Chain. When Gu Fei summoned the 9-clawed green bull, Liang Enju did not hesitate and thrust the Silver Dragon Spear at Mo Qingyun. Under Liang Enju's wave, the image of a dragon appeared on the Silver Dragon Spear, instantly increasing the Silver Dragon Spear's aura. At the same time, the Silver Dragon Spear glowed brightly as a terrifying lightning bolt appeared and turned into a lightning chain dragon, sealing off Mo Qingyun's escape route. 9-clawed green bull, a top-grade spirit weapon. Seeing Gu Fei and Liang Enju's attack, Mo Qingyun's expression was slightly shocked as a strong killing intent appeared in his eyes. These two actually dared to launch a sneak attack on him while he was fighting with others. They were simply too despicable and shameless. These two must die. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's heart was filled with the desire to kill Gu Fei and Liang Enju. Chapter 969. The disciples of the two sacred mountains actually dared to do such a despicable act. How admirable! Mo Qingyun had a disdainful expression on his face as he mocked the two of them. Then, he waved the colorless sword in his hand. 9 essences in one. Mo Qingyun was so angry that he did not show any mercy. He directly used 9 types of perfected innate origin force. With a slash, the colorless sword emitted a 9-colored radiance. A 9-colored sword ray slashed toward the 9-clawed green bull and the Silver Dragon Lightning Chain. 9 types of perfected innate origin force. Gu Fei and Liang Enju panicked when they saw the power of Mo Qingyun's slash. A chill ran down their spines. They really didn't expect that Mo Qingyun actually had a backup plan, and it was such a powerful one at that. After a brief moment of shock, the two did not dare to hesitate and hurriedly blocked Mo Qingyun's slash. When Gu Fei and Liang Enju made their moves, the two of them were also retreating at a rapid speed. However, even though Gu Fei and Liang Enju had quickly retreated, the 9-clawed green bull did not manage to evade in time. The 9-colored sword ray flashed past and destroyed the Silver Dragon Lightning Chain. It continued to strike the 9-clawed green bull's body with a thunderous momentum. Slash. The 9-clawed green bull's hide was instantly torn apart by the 9-colored sword light. Then, its entire body was split into 2 by the 9-colored sword light. The 9-clawed green bull was killed instantly. Everyone's expression changed when they saw this scene. They could not believe that this was real. The 9-clawed green bull, whose strength was comparable to a peak divine power expert, was killed by Mo Qingyun's slash. Silence. The entire training ground of Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain fell silent. No one dared to make a sound. They were all frightened by Mo Qingyun's peerless and magnificent sword. Even a quasi-exalt realm expert might not be able to resist Mo Qingyun's sword strike from before. A level 4 divine power expert was more terrifying than a half-venerable expert. This kind of thing was really too strange for everyone. Plop, the 9-clawed green ox's corpse fell to the ground, making 2 consecutive sounds and stirring up a large cloud of dust. When the 9-clawed green ox's corpse fell to the ground, the surrounding people came back to their senses. Their expressions were still filled with shock. Nine types of perfected innate origin powers. How is it possible for someone to achieve this? Monster, he's too much of a monster. This old man has been writing the records of the Tianhun continent for nearly 1,000,000 years. I've seen countless proud deeds of geniuses, but I've never seen someone like him. Venerable Sima, the Tianhun continent has produced countless geniuses in the last 1,000,000 years. How is it possible that there isn't a single person who can match up to Mo Qingyun? I don't know if others have seen him before, but in my many years of experience, I have never seen anyone whose achievements can compare to Mo Qingyun. For a moment, everyone was shocked by Mo Qingyun's performance. While everyone was still in shock, Mo Qingyun's figure moved, and he charged toward Gu Fei and Liang Enju once more. In Mo Qingyun's heart, compared to Shui Weiyang and the others, he wanted to kill Gu Fei and Liang Enju more. 9 origins in 1. Mo Qingyun attacked Gu Fei and Liang Enju once more. He didn't hold back as he once again released 9 types of perfected innate origin powers. In that instant, a 9-colored sword glow burst forth from colorless sword and blasted toward Gu Fei and Gu Fei at lightning speed. 100 Beasts Pilgrimage. Facing Mo Qingyun's powerful attack, Gu Fei didn't dare to hold back and immediately summoned over 100 Yao beasts. Roar. As the 100 Yao beasts appeared, a series of deafening roars came from their mouths. As these Yao beasts roared, waves of terrifying elemental energy burst out from their bodies and condensed into a colorful Qilin shadow. After the elemental energy Qilin shadow was formed, a pure 5 elemental origin powers emanated from its body and turned into a Qilin claw that slammed toward Mo Qingyun. Silver Dragon Sky-Piercing Spear. Silver Dragon Devastation. Liang Enju thrust his spear forward. The spear in his hand suddenly glowed with silver light, and 2 dragon shadows, one silver and one gray, flew out. After the 2 dragon shadows flew out, they intertwined with each other and soared into the sky, circling in the air. As the 2 dragon shadows circled in the sky, the wind and clouds in the sky suddenly changed color, and the sky instantly darkened. Boom! At the same time, streaks of black thunder of devastation, which exuded terrifying power, blasted out from the 2 dragon shadows. These streaks of black thunder of devastation fell, instantly shattering the surrounding space and causing a spiderweb-like crack to appear. Seeing Gu Fei and Liang Enju's full-strength attack, the surrounding people's expressions changed and revealed a look of horror. Qilin. Qilin, the sacred beast Qilin. Although it's only the shadow of the sacred beast Qilin, its power is enough to threaten a half-venerable. What a terrifying technique! Is this the power of a top-grade spiritual weapon? With the silver dragon spear in his hand, Liang Enju's current strength is no weaker than a half-venerable expert. In the face of Liang Enju's spear, even with Mo Qingyun's amazing strength, he will probably choose to avoid it for the time being. At this moment, everyone's eyes widened as they focused on the battle in front of them. They were afraid that they would miss the unprecedented battle in front of them in the blink of an eye and regret it in their hearts. Sword momentum, condense. In the face of Liang Enju and Gu Fei's full-strength attack, Mo Qingyun's left hand formed a hand seal and pointed at the colorless sword in his right hand. Immediately, the colorless sword emitted a dazzling light as if it had been blessed, exuding a sharp aura. Then, Mo Qingyun waved the colorless sword and slashed out an even more terrifying 9-colored sword light. As the 9-colored sword light slashed out, it charged toward the black lightning of devastation and the Qilin shadow with an unstoppable force. Puff! Puff! Under the bombardment of the 9-colored sword radiance, even with the power of the black thunder of destruction and the Qilin shadow, they were instantly defeated and dissipated. After the 9-colored sword light destroyed the black lightning of devastation and the Qilin shadow, its attack speed did not decrease at all. It continued to blast toward Gu Fei and Liang Enju. Facing the powerful bombardment of the 9-colored sword light, Gu Fei and Liang Unju's expressions changed instantly. They hurriedly blocked the 9-colored sword light. 100 beasts guarding the mountain. Under Gu Fei's command, the more than 100 monsters immediately stood in a row and protected Gu Fei at the back. Silver Dragon Protection. Liang Unju quickly waved the silver dragon spear in his hand. After slashing out a dragon shadow, he placed the silver dragon spear in front of him to protect himself. Then, Liang Unju was protected by a dragon shadow as if he was enveloped by a golden bell. Bang! Bang! Under the bombardment of the 9-colored sword light, the more than 100 monsters were instantly blasted away. Blood and flesh splattered everywhere. After destroying the monsters formed by more than 100 monsters, the 9-colored sword light did not decrease in speed and continued to sweep toward Gu Fei's waist. Puff! Chapter 970. Gu Fei's eyes widened when he saw that he had been cut in half. He could not believe it. He could not accept that he, the #1 genius of the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain, would die in the hands of an unknown brat. He could not believe that Emo Qingyun would not be afraid of the revenge of the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain and kill him on the spot. If he had known this would happen, he would rather not provoke Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun was a complete madman. Unfortunately, there was no medicine for regret in this world. Once something was done, one had to bear the consequences. Gu Fei is dead. Liang Unju's expression changed when he saw that Gu Fei was still alive after being cut in half. This scene was truly beyond his expectations. He did not expect Emo Qingyun to be so decisive in his actions. However, before Liang Unju could react, the 9-colored sword ray attacked him at an extremely fast speed. Facing the 9-colored sword ray, Liang Unju's expression was extremely nervous. He activated the protective dragon shadow to the extreme. Bang! In the face of the 9-colored sword light, the protective dragon shadow instantly collapsed, emitting the sound of glass shattering. After destroying Liang Unju's protective dragon shadow, the 9-colored sword ray's attack did not decrease at all. Instead, it continued to attack Liang Unju. Clang! Then, the 9-colored sword ray hit the silver dragon spear, producing a crisp sound. Then, a terrifying rebounding force erupted from the silver dragon spear, producing a powerful light wave. After the powerful light wave was formed, Liang Unju's body was sent flying backward. His face became extremely pale. At the same time, the luster on the silver dragon spear dimmed. It seemed that the weapon spirit of the silver dragon spear was severely injured by the 9-colored sword ray. Seeing the luster on the silver dragon spear dimming, Liang Unju's heart ached. He knew that the weapon spirit of the silver dragon spear was injured. Moreover, if the weapon spirit of the silver dragon spear was severely injured, the grade of the silver dragon spear might drop. This was not an outcome he wanted to see. Before Liang Unju could think any further, another 9-colored sword light swept towards him, radiating with a terrifying and sharp presence. Looking at the rapidly approaching 9-colored sword light, Liang Unju's expression suddenly trembled, and his heart couldn't help but thump. Emo Qingyun wanted to kill him. Seeing Emo Qingyun's decisive action of killing Gu Fei, Liang Unju did not dare to doubt Emo Qingyun's motives, as the stakes were simply too high. If he made the wrong guess, he might very well end up in the same state as Gu Fei. Silver Dragon Sky Destroyer Spear, Silver Dragon Sea Overturning Shield. Liang Unju quickly waved the silver dragon spear in his hand and slashed out 9 silver dragon shadows, forming a huge silver dragon shield in front of him. After the silver dragon shield was formed, an astonishing wave of origin power burst out from it, slamming towards the 9-colored sword light like a stormy sea. The 9-colored sword gleam slammed into the waves of elemental energy, causing them to explode and crash into the silver dragon shield. Bang! The 9-colored sword light collided with the dragon shield and immediately shattered the silver dragon shield with a loud bang. Seeing this, Liang Unju did not dare to hesitate at all and hurriedly slammed the silver dragon spear in front of him. When Liang Unju placed the silver dragon spear in front of him to block the nine-colored sword gleam, the nine-colored sword gleam hit the silver dragon spear. Clang! With a crisp sound, the light on the silver dragon spear dimmed again, and its aura weakened a lot. It seemed that the grade of the silver dragon spear had dropped after being continuously injured. However, Mo Qingyun did not care about this and continued to slash at Liang Unju with the colorless sword. Under Mo Qingyun's powerful attacks, Liang Unju quickly became surrounded by danger. If he was not careful, he would be killed by Mo Qingyun's sword. However, anyone with a discerning eye could see that if no one helped Liang Unju, it was only a matter of time before Liang Unju was killed by Mo Qingyun. Seeing that Liang Unju was in danger under Mo Qingyun's attacks, the people of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain could no longer sit still. Oh no, young Lord Unju is in danger. We have to protect young Lord immediately. An elder of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain, who was at the pinnacle of divine power, said nervously. He moved quickly and went to help Liang Unju. Seeing this elder's action, the others of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain did not hesitate and attacked Mo Qingyun one after another. Seeing the actions of the people of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain, the people of Imperial Beast Mystic Mountain no longer hesitated. One of them said with a gloomy expression, Mo Qingyun killed Gu Fei, young Lord Gu Fei. Let's attack together and tear him to pieces to avenge young Lord Gu Fei. Kill Mo Qingyun and avenge young Lord Gu Fei. The people of Imperial Beast Mystic Mountain shouted angrily and summoned their own monsters to attack Mo Qingyun. Soon, numerous ferocious demonic beasts appeared in front of the people from the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain and pounced on Mo Qingyun. Upon seeing this, Shui Weiyang revealed a cold smile. She said to the group from Sky Sword Mountain behind her, "Now that two great divine mountains are dealing with Mo Qingyun together, there's no need for us to hesitate. Let's take advantage of this opportunity to kill him in one go. Junior brothers, get into formation." Shui Weiyang said coldly and instructed everyone to form the Yin-Yang Nine Temples Demon Slaying Sword formation once more. When Shui Weiyang and the others attacked Mo Qingyun, the others of Sky Sword Mystic Mountain did not hesitate and joined the battle against Mo Qingyun. In an instant, nearly 100 divine tier experts from the three mystic mountains attacked Mo Qingyun at the same time. The people of the various major forces felt their scalps go numb when they saw this scene. In their opinion, even a force with a half-step Venerable Realm expert would be annihilated by the combined forces of the three mystic mountains. Right now, Mo Qingyun was only at level 4 of the divine tier. Could he withstand the combined attacks of the three mystic mountains? The three mystic mountains are really shameless. So many of them are attacking Martial Granduncle alone. Grand Elder, let's help Martial Granduncle. We'll help Martial Granduncle shoulder some of the attacks. Don't be rash. We'll only be a burden to Master if we participate in a battle of this scale. Song Luo and the others were tense when they saw this scene. They were worried for Mo Qingyun. Compared to the others who were worried and nervous, Mo Qingyun was very calm. He was not affected by this at all. You want to bully me with numbers? A wisp of a cold smile appeared on the corners of Mo Qingyun's mouth as he gazed at the almost 100 people that attacked him, and he said in a cold and indifferent tone, "Since all of you are courting death, then I'll annihilate all of you today." Demonic shadow traceless, following like a shadow. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, 8 afterimages appeared around him. He instantly disappeared from where he was, avoiding the combined attacks of the three mystic mountains. Die. Chapter 971. With a slash, a crescent-shaped sword ray was instantly released from the colorless sword. Following that, the crescent-shaped sword ray was like a lawnmower as it swept towards the Sky Spear Sacred Mountains group. Puff, puff, puff as the sword ray swept past, streaks of blood mist spurted out from the bodies of the Sky Spear Sacred Mountains group. Very quickly, the place where the Sky Spear Sacred Mountains group was formed into a bloody cloud. With one slash, more than 20 experts with intermediate transcendent power and above were killed by Mo Qingyun on the spot. Looking at the scene before them, everyone's expression changed as they were shocked by Mo Qingyun's strength. However, Mo Qingyun's following performance completely stunned them. Mo Qingyun had disappeared. Mo Qingyun had disappeared from their sight. How? How is this possible? Mo Qingyun has actually disappeared. I can't even sense his aura. Could it be that Mo Qingyun has left? Could it be that he used some kind of escape technique? That's possible. After all, from the start of the battle until now, for someone with level 4 transcendent power, the amount of Yuan energy depleted is too great. It's normal for Mo Qingyun's Yuan energy to be depleted. This time, the 3 sacred mountains couldn't keep Mo Qingyun here. With the talent that Mo Qingyun has displayed today, it will be an endless nightmare for them. They won't be able to eat or sleep in peace in the future. Seeing Mo Qingyun's figure disappear, everyone's expression changed as they thought that Mo Qingyun had escaped. In their opinion, even if Mo Qingyun's performance was extremely shocking, he was still only at level 4 transcendent power. With Mo Qingyun's level 4 transcendent power cultivation, the amount of Yuan energy he had used to continuously unleash terrifying attacks must be terrifying. Now that he had run out of Yuan energy, it was within reason. Bang! Just as everyone thought so, a dazzling light suddenly bloomed and turned into a crescent-shaped 9-colored sword ray that slashed towards the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountains group. After seeing this sword light appear, the expressions of the surrounding people changed greatly, revealing a look of shock. Mo Qingyun hadn't left yet. From the looks of it, not only had Mo Qingyun not left, but he was also hiding in the surroundings, waiting for an opportunity to kill the people from the 3 divine mountains. The fighting power of the Beast God Mountain's disciples mainly came from their demonic beasts. Their own fighting power was not very strong. At this moment, Mo Qingyun's sudden sword strike was undoubtedly a calamity to them. Chi, blood splattered everywhere the sword radiance passed. One by one, the disciples of the Divine Beast Mountain were sliced apart by the 9-colored sword radiance. As their torsos were severed, the people of the Imperial Beast Divine Mountain let out a series of blood-curdling screams. However, before the people of the Imperial Beast Divine Mountain could react, another 9-colored sword light swept toward them from another angle. The 2 9-colored sword lights were like a giant pair of scissors, cutting towards the people of the Imperial Beast Divine Mountain. Crack, crack, crack. Soon, the crisp sound of bones cracking could be heard. One by one, the disciples of the Imperial Beast Divine Mountain were killed by the sword radiance. After a while, the sword radiance disappeared, and the bloody mist dissipated. In the air, there were less than 10 disciples of the Imperial Beast Divine Mountain who were still alive. Under Mo Qingyun's continuous attacks, more than 20 disciples of the Imperial Beast Divine Mountain were killed on the spot. In just a short while, nearly 100 disciples of the 3 divine mountains had been killed by Mo Qingyun. What kind of terrifying battle record was this? However, this was not the most frightening thing. The most frightening thing was that Mo Qingyun was still hiding in the dark. What was the most frightening thing in a fight? It was not how high the opponent's cultivation was, or how many trump cards he had, or how powerful his background was. It was that you didn't even know where your opponent was and could be ambushed or assassinated at any time. This Mo Qingyun is too monstrous. With such a terrifying technique, he's already in an invincible position. It seems like the 3 divine mountains are in trouble this time. They've provoked someone they shouldn't have. Unless a supreme being expert appears, there's no one who can threaten Mo Qingyun. At this moment, the crowd couldn't help but sigh. They were completely convinced by Mo Qingyun's strength. For someone at the fourth level of the transcendent realm to be able to reach such a terrifying level, it could be considered unprecedented. At this moment, while the crowd was still in shock over Mo Qingyun's strength, a dim light suddenly appeared behind Liang Enju. It was the reflection of the colorless sword's blade. Enju, watch out. Senior brother Enju, watch out for a sneak attack. Mo Qingyun, don't you dare. Seeing the reflection of the colorless sword's blade, the Sky Spear Sacred Mountain's disciples' expressions changed drastically. They quickly warned Liang Enju. Hearing the crowd's warning, Liang Enju quickly turned around. When he saw the colorless sword's blade, his expression changed drastically. Looking at the colorless sword that was rapidly approaching him, Liang Enju's face turned pale. He quickly retreated. However, the colorless sword's attack speed was too fast. In addition to the unexpected sneak attack, it wasn't something Liang Enju could dodge. Pucci! The colorless sword's speed suddenly increased. In an instant, it pierced through Liang Enju's chest and pierced through his body. At the same time, 9 types of perfected innate origin energy poured into Liang Enju's body from the colorless sword, destroying his meridians and dantian. Puff! Under the bombardment of the 9 types of perfected innate origin energy, Liang Enju immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His meridians and dantian were instantly destroyed. In the blink of an eye, Liang Enju was covered in blood. He looked extremely miserable. As his meridians and dantian were destroyed, Liang Enju's aura rapidly weakened. In the blink of an eye, he was no different from an ordinary person. Enju, how are you? Senior brother Enju, are you okay? Junior brother Enju, are you okay? Seeing Liang Enju's miserable state, the people of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain immediately supported him and asked with concern. My meridians and dantian were all destroyed by Mo Qingyun. Hearing the people's questions, Liang Enju smiled sadly and replied with an unwilling expression. He couldn't accept that as the number 1 genius of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain, he would become a cripple with no cultivation from now on. This kind of thing was even crueler than killing him. Mo Qingyun, get out here. Hearing Liang Enju's words, the people of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain were instantly enraged and shouted angrily. While the people of Sky Spear Mystic Mountain were shouting, Mo Qingyun's figure gradually appeared. He looked at Liang Enju with a cold expression and said, "When you sneak attack others, you should think twice. You will also be sneak attacked by others." As Mo Qingyun's words fell, his body faded again and slowly disappeared from everyone's sight. Seeing Mo Qingyun's figure disappear from their senses, the people of the 3 sacred mountains' expressions changed drastically. They were filled with intense fear. Chapter 972. Run! Mo Qingyun is coming for us. Someone from the 3 sacred mountains could no longer suppress the fear in his heart when he thought of what would happen to him. As this panicked voice was heard, the fear in the hearts of the others was immediately aroused. Everyone from the 3 sacred mountains began to think of retreating. They no longer had the heart to continue fighting and wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. They did not want to be killed by Mo Qingyun. They were afraid that they would follow in the footsteps of Gu Fei and the others if they were even a step too late. Soon, a scene that made everyone not know whether to laugh or cry appeared before everyone's eyes. Under Mo Qingyun's attack, the people from the 3 sacred mountains, who had the absolute advantage in numbers, began to flee for their lives in fear. Such a scene was simply too out of everyone's expectations, causing everyone to feel that it was completely out of their expectations. Were these really the 3 sacred mountains they knew? Since when had the 3 sacred mountains become so cowardly? The expressions of the 3 quasi-exalts who were fighting with Qi Lian instantly turned gloomy when they saw the disciples of their respective divine mountains fleeing for their lives. The 3 sacred mountains were the peak powers of the Tianhun continent. How could they be forced to flee like this? This was a great humiliation for the 3 sacred mountains. This was something they could not tolerate. Demigod domineering spear, demigod tiger, that brat Emo Chingyun is a little strange. We need to take care of him immediately. Demigod Fu Chang coldly said when he saw the disciples from the 3 sacred mountains being slaughtered by Emo Chingyun. The 2 of you, hold off the Demon King for now. This old man will deal with that brat Emo Chingyun first. The 3 of us can then slowly deal with the Demon King. Alright. Demigod Domineering Spear and Demigod Tiger had no objections to Demigod Fu Chang's suggestion. Among the 3 of them, Fu Chang's quasi-venerable attack was the strongest. If he were to attack, he would be able to kill Emo Chingyun in the shortest time possible. Seeing that Demigod Domineering Spear and Demigod Tiger had agreed, Demigod Fu Chang no longer hesitated and charged toward Emo Chingyun. Brat, you're too arrogant. With a few flickers, Fu Chang arrived near the disciples of the 3 sacred mountains and released his divine ability treasure elephant. Fu Chang's half-martial treasure elephant was a fiery eyes golden hoe that possessed the bloodline of an ancient divine beast. Its eyes could see through all illusions. Following Fu Chang's summoning of the magical treasure elephant, a dazzling light blossomed from the golden light hoe's eyes. Under the sweeping of this dazzling light, all illusory objects appeared one by one. At the same time, a terrifying aura flew out from Fu Chang's body and instantly enveloped an area of 10 miles around him. This power was Fu Chang's half-venerable will. With Fu Chang searching with all his might, he soon sensed Emo Chingyun, who was hiding in the dark. Brat, this old man wants to see where you're going to hide next. After discovering Emo Chingyun's hiding place, Fu Chang smiled coldly and slashed at Emo Chingyun with his long sword. As Fu Chang slashed out with his sword, a terrifying flaming sword ray shot toward Emo Chingyun like a dragon coming out of its cave. Wherever the flaming sword ray passed, Fu Chang's half-venerable will instantly froze the surrounding space to prevent Emo Chingyun from escaping. In other words, Emo Chingyun did not even have a chance to escape from Fu Chang's sword. Fu Chang did not stop after slashing out with his sword. Instead, he instructed the disciples of the 3 sacred mountains behind him, all of you, summon your magical treasure elephants and use your strongest techniques to attack where my sword ray is pointing. Yes. Upon hearing Fu Chang's words, the disciples did not dare hesitate. They all summoned their magical treasure elephants and used their strongest techniques in the direction of the flaming sword ray. Suddenly, a series of attacks that emitted terrifying auras bombarded Emo Chingyun from all directions. Under the pressure of these terrifying attacks, the entire sky changed color. It was as if the end of the world had arrived. After seeing this scene, everyone's expression changed drastically. They were worried for Emo Chingyun. In their opinion, the combined attack of a half-venerable and 10 high-level magical treasure masters was enough to kill a half-venerable on the spot. Those below the high-level magical treasure stage immediately retreat 100 miles away from the martial arts field to avoid being injured by the aftershocks of the battle. Elders immediately activate the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountains Protective Array to prevent the aftershocks of the battle from spreading to other parts of the sect. Seeing that terrifying attack, the people from the various major forces all made their moves to deal with it. After a while, the disciples of the various major forces retreated 100 miles away from the martial arts field. They all looked forward nervously. At this moment, a continent-shaped object suddenly appeared in front of them. After this continent-shaped object appeared, it rushed toward Fu Chang and the others with a thunderous force. Asterisk bang bang bang, asterisk after a while, the joint attack of Fu Chang and the others bombarded the continent, creating a series of earth-shattering sounds. At the same time, a terrifying Yuan Qi storm formed at the edge of the continent. Asterisk bang bang bang. Asterisk after the Yuan Qi storm formed, it turned around and attacked Fu Chang and the others. In an instant, it engulfed everyone from the 3 sacred mountains. What is this thing? Could it be Emo Chingyun's magical treasure elephant? Looking at the rapidly approaching continent, Fu Cheng's face twitched. A chill rose in his heart. With his thousands of years of experience, he had never seen such a strange thing. This unknown danger terrified him. At this moment, he clearly felt that the sense of danger from this continent was even stronger than what sword Venerable Li he gave him. It was hard to imagine that a fourth-level magical treasure stage cultivator could create such a terrifying attack. Bang, at this moment, while Fu Chang was panicking, his magical treasure Elephant Fire Eye Golden Light Ho was smashed into pieces by the continent. Poo. After the magical treasure Elephant Fire Eye Golden Light Ho was destroyed, Fu Chang, who was connected to it, immediately spat out a mouthful of blood. His aura weakened. Run. Then, Fu Chang no longer hesitated. He immediately turned around and prepared to escape. Bang. However, before Fu Chang could turn around, he was hit by the continent. In an instant, his bones and flesh were separated from his body. He turned into a bloody mist. Fu Chang dead. After Fu Chang was killed, the rest of the people from the 3 sacred mountains were also smashed into bloody mist by the continent. In just a short moment, dozens of people from the 3 sacred mountains died in midair. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They all looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. They could not believe that this was done by Mo Qingyun. Could a person at the 4th level of the divine ability realm have such terrifying strength? Chapter 973. While everyone was still in a daze, the Yuan Force windstorm in the sky gradually dissipated and the blood mist slowly receded. Not long after, although the sky returned to its usual calm, the shock in everyone's hearts could not be calmed. At that moment, the shocking scene from earlier was still replaying in their minds. A half-step powerhouse and dozens of high-level God Art powerhouses were actually killed by a level 4 God Art powerhouse in the blink of an eye. This kind of thing was simply too shocking. It was simply too hard for them to believe. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock as they turned to look at Mo Qingyun. Their eyes were filled with shock and awe. Sect Leader Ma, did I see wrongly? Did Mo Qingyun really kill half-venerable Fu Chang and the others? I'm not sure, but Mo Qingyun must have killed them. Or could it be an expert from Mo Qingyun's sect? No matter what, we can't afford to offend Mo Qingyun. Otherwise, the consequences will be worse than offending a sovereign. At this moment, the same thought appeared in everyone's mind. No matter what, they couldn't afford to offend Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun was simply too terrifying. Under everyone's gaze, Mo Qingyun turned to look at half-venerable Tiger and half-venerable Spear with a cold expression. When they felt Mo Qingyun's cold gaze, half-venerable Tiger and half-venerable Spear trembled and felt a chill run down their spines. Although they had been fighting with Qilian, the scene of Mo Qingyun killing half-venerable Fu Chang did not escape their eyes. Half-venerable Fu Chang, who was stronger than them, had been killed by Mo Qingyun. If the two of them were to face Mo Qingyun, they would die even faster and more miserably. No, I don't want to die. When they thought of half-venerable Fu Chang's fate, half-venerable Tiger and half-venerable Domineering Spear's expression changed and fear rose in their hearts. Run. Half-venerable Tiger and half-venerable Domineering Spear looked at each other. Without hesitation, they ran in different directions. They were scared. From their point of view, if they didn't escape now, once Mo Qingyun attacked them, they wouldn't have the chance to escape. Qilian, you go kill Domineering Spear Demigod. Leave Tiger Subdue to me. Seeing the actions of Domineering Spear Demigod and Tiger Subdue, Mo Qingyun had a cold expression as he instructed Qilian. After saying that, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and directly opened the teleportation gate. Yes, young lord. Having received Mo Qingyun's instructions, Qilian naturally did not hesitate at all. He revealed a sinister smile as he responded. From the beginning until now, he had been suppressed by half-venerable Tiger and the other two. Now, he finally had a chance to get back at them. Of course, Qi Lian's true intention was to kill Domineering Spear Demi-Venerate and refine the blood in his body. Then, his cultivation base would improve greatly. Seeing the teleportation gate forming in front of him, Mo Qingyun walked in without hesitation and disappeared from where he stood. Whoosh! When Mo Qingyun reappeared, he was already in front of Tiger Subdue, blocking his path. Teleportation. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the expressions of the surrounding people suddenly changed. An intense shock rose in their hearts. Teleportation was a technique that not even half-venerables could master. However, Mo Qingyun had executed it so easily. Was there anything Mo Qingyun couldn't do? At that moment, everyone was wailing in their hearts. They didn't know how to express their feelings. Now, Mo Qingyun had become an omnipotent existence. Demon. He's really a demon. With such talent and such means, if a sovereign doesn't appear, no one will be able to compete with him. Seeing Mo Qingyun's move, a sect leader of a sect sighed emotionally. If a sovereign doesn't appear, no one will be able to compete with him. Hearing the sect leader's words, the people of the various superpowers fell silent. They all agreed with his words. If he could even kill a half-venerate expert, who else would be able to suppress Mo Qingyun, other than a sovereign? Luckily, we didn't deal with Mo Qingyun previously. Seeing Mo Qingyun's terrifying means, an elder of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain couldn't help but sigh with lingering fear. Hearing the elder's words, the other elders of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain nodded their heads. They also felt a lingering fear in their hearts. They knew clearly that if they had dealt with Mo Qingyun, the consequences would have been dire. Given the strength and means that Mo Qingyun had displayed, even Transcendental Supreme Su might not have been able to kill Mo Qingyun. More importantly, if Mo Qingyun had been killed on the spot, given his shocking talent, he would have been a nightmare once he grew stronger. Brother Mo actually killed a half-venerate. Wang Quan and the others widened their eyes when they saw Mo Qingyun kill Fu Chang. They couldn't believe that this was real. They had seen Mo Qingyun's terrifying strength in the Fog Pond sect of the Mingfeng mountain range. They knew that Mo Qingyun would become even stronger after breaking through to the transcendent realm. But they never would have thought that Mo Qingyun would become so strong after breaking through to the transcendent realm. Martial Granduncle is so strong. Seeing Mo Qingyun's display of strength, Song Luo couldn't calm himself down for a long time. He was so excited that he muttered to himself, with Martial Granduncle's talent, he will definitely become a sovereign in the future. He might even become the strongest person on the Tianhun continent. Song Luo actually managed to curry favor with someone like him. This is really... At this moment, Song Luo couldn't find any words to describe the excitement and joy in his heart. To Song Luo, being able to curry favor with Mo Qingyun was more fortunate than being able to curry favor with the Heavenly Pool Mountain. Compared to the others, Half-Venerable Tiger's mood was undoubtedly the worst. In terms of speed, he couldn't compare to Mo Qingyun. In terms of strength, he wasn't even close to being a match for Mo Qingyun. Now, he could only wait for death. Brat, what do you want? Looking at Mo Qingyun, who was blocking his way, Half-Venerable Tiger asked Mo Qingyun in a panicked tone, his face filled with fear. Tiger Subdue's heart was filled with anticipation when he said this. He hoped that Mo Qingyun would give him something in exchange for his life. But reality was always cruel. Mo Qingyun's expression turned even colder when he heard Tiger Subdue's words. Those who kill will be killed by others. I want you dead. Mo Qingyun wouldn't go easy on those from the Beastmaster Sacred Mountain, Sky Spear Sacred Mountain, and Sky Sword Sacred Mountain. He would make them pay for what they did to him in the Heavens Spirit Tomb. Chapter 974. 9 Essences as One. A 9-colored sword radiance shot out from the colorless sword. Like a horse that had escaped its reins, it charged towards half-venerable tiger. Tyrannical snow lion, stop this brat for me! Seeing Emo Qingyun attacking him, half-venerable tiger's face twitched and he panicked. At the same time, half-venerable tiger quickly formed a hand seal and summoned a demonic beast that looked like a white tiger. Seeing the demonic beast summoned by half-venerable tiger, Emo Qingyun immediately recognized its origin. It was the descendant of the ancient divine beast, Swanee. Roar. After the tyrannical snow lion was summoned, it roared towards the sky and raised its paw to slap the nine-colored sword Radiance. As the tyrannical snow lion slapped the sword Radiance, a pure ice origin energy was emitted from its paw. Immediately, a layer of ice armor formed around its paw and it emitted a terrifying aura. Bang! The nine-colored sword Radiance hit the tyrannical snow lion's paw and a loud sound was heard. The nine-colored sword Radiance had been blocked. However, when the tyrannical snow lion blocked the nine-colored sword light, the ice armor condensed on its huge palm cracked at an extremely fast speed. As the ice armor cracked, its paw was hit by the nine-colored sword Radiance. In an instant, a shocking wound appeared on its paw and fresh blood flowed out. Seeing Emo Qingyun's casual sword strike easily break through his protective ice armor, Tyrannical Snow's eyes immediately revealed a strong sense of awe as he looked at Emo Qingyun. A demonic beast with the bloodline of the Swanee. Emo Qingyun frowned slightly as he gazed at the tyrannical snow lion before him. A faint smile appeared on the corners of his mouth as he said, "A tyrannical snow lion with a cultivation at the quasi-exalt realm is a pretty good mount. It would be a pity to kill it." After thinking about it, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He looked at the tyrannical snow lion in front of him and said, "Since you have the bloodline of the ancient divine beast Swanee, if you submit to me now, I can spare your life. I think you can see that it is easy for me to kill you. Brat, with your level 4 transcendent power, you are not qualified to make me submit. If you want to kill me, then kill me." After hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the tyrannical snow lion unhappily raised his head and said a few words of displeasure. Obviously, it would be difficult to make this tyrannical snow lion submit to him just based on Qingyun's words. As a descendant of an ancient mythological beast, the tyrannical snow Swanee had the arrogance of a mythological beast and would not easily yield to others. Emo Qingyun did not care too much about the tyrannical snow lion's performance. If the tyrannical snow lion surrendered so easily, it would not be worth it for him to subdue it. "Looks like I'll have to teach you a lesson." Emo Qingyun faintly smiled and continued to slash at tyrannical snow lion with his sword. This sword strike was even more powerful and faster than the previous one. Facing Emo Qingyun's sword, the lion tyrant Snow didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless. It immediately waved its beast paw to resist. Emo Qingyun actually wants to subdue the tyrannical snow lion. What a fool's dream! Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, half-venerable tiger, who was at the side, was elated. A mocking smile appeared on his face as he said, "When I subdued the tyrannical snow lion, with the help of Sovereign Yun Fan, it took me a whole month to subdue it. Now, I have to leave this place immediately while Emo Qingyun is subduing the tyrannical snow lion." Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, half-venerable tiger didn't dare to stay any longer and immediately turned to leave. Following which, half-venerable tiger's body flashed, and he was 1,000 meters away. Trying to leave? Seeing half-venerable tiger's actions, Emo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He raised his hand to grab half-venerable tiger and shouted, "Get back here!" As Emo Qingyun made a grabbing motion, a terrifying wave of origin energy gathered behind half-venerate tiger subdue and turned into a huge blue palm. Once the blue palm was formed, it quickly grabbed at half-venerable tiger and tried to subdue him. Tiger subduing Arhat Fist, Yama's mystical fist. Faced with the huge blue palm, half-venerable tiger didn't hesitate and threw a punch at the huge blue palm. A terrifying wave of origin energy gathered on half-venerable tiger's fist and turned into a dark golden shadow of a fist. Bang! Once the shadow of the fist was thrown, it attacked the huge blue palm. In an instant, the huge blue palm exploded and turned into blue water droplet. Seeing that he had destroyed the blue palm with one punch, half-venerable tiger sneered proudly and said, "That's all there is to it. Emo Chinyun, you're too full of yourself if you think you can capture me with such a trick. Is that so?" Hearing half-venerable tiger's words, Emo Chinyun smiled playfully. His expression turned cold as he said, "Then watch how I'm going to subdue you." 9 Azure Sea Black Ice Dragon Capturing Hands form. As Emo Chinyun finished speaking, his right hand grabbed at half-venerable tiger again. Following which, the huge blue palm that had been destroyed by half-venerable tiger slowly reformed. Once the blue hand was formed again, it grabbed half-venerable tiger subdue in its hand before he could react. Seeing that he was being held by the huge blue palm, half-venerable tiger snorted coldly and said, "Humph, Emo Chinyun, don't waste your energy. This level of skill can't subdue me." As half-venerable tiger finished speaking, he activated the origin energy in his body and tried to break free from the 9 Azure Sea Black Ice Dragon Capturing Hand. Ice form. Just as half-venerable tiger was about to break free from the 9 Azure Sea Black Ice Dragon Capturing Hands, Emo Chinyun released a wave of ice origin energy and changed the 9 Azure Sea Black Ice Dragon Capturing Hands into an ice form. Following which, the huge blue palm turned into a huge black ice palm and emitted a terrifying chill that surged into half-venerable tiger's body. As soon as the chill entered half-venerable tiger's body, he felt as though his origin energy had been frozen by the chill. Realizing this, half-venerable tiger's expression changed drastically. His face turned pale. He had not expected this to happen. "Get over here." Before half-venerable tiger could react, he realized that his body had been captured by the huge black ice palm and brought to Emo Chinyun. Looking at this scene, the surrounding people were instantly horrified, and they were all stunned on the spot. Even someone as powerful as half-venerable tiger could not resist Emo Chinyun at all. This fellow is so powerful. Seeing that half-venerable tiger had been captured by Emo Chinyun, Tyrannical Snow, who was standing at the side, was terrified. Immediately after, Tyrannical Snow did not hesitate and immediately prepared to escape. He did not care about half-venerable tiger's life or death. What a cunning fellow! Seeing Tyrannical Snow's actions, Emo Chinyun's lips curled up. He raised his hand and grabbed in Tyrannical Snow's direction and said, "Get over here." Following which, a huge blue palm condensed behind the Tyrannical Snow Lion and directly captured him. After the huge blue palm captured Tyrannical Snow, it turned into ice and brought him to Emo Chinyun. Chapter 975. I'll submit to you. Hearing Emo Chinyun's words, the Tyrannical Snow Wolf no longer hesitated and hurriedly made his decision. He could tell that if he did not agree, Emo Chinyun would definitely kill him. In order to protect his life, the Tyrannical Snow Wolf had no choice but to submit to Emo Chinyun. After all, it was not easy for him to reach the half-supremacy realm. Of course, the Tyrannical Snow Wolf was willing to submit to Emo Chinyun because he wanted to protect his life. Furthermore, the strength that Emo Chinyun had displayed had completely conquered him. He felt that Emo Chinyun was qualified to be his master. In the Tyrannical Snow Wolf's opinion, Emo Chinyun, who was only at the 4th level of the Transcendent Power Realm, could easily defeat Half-Supremacy Tiger. Following Emo Chinyun seemed to have a better future than following Half-Supremacy Tiger. What a crafty fellow! Hearing the Tyrannical Snow Wolf's reply, Emo Chinyun smiled faintly. He seemed to have expected the Tyrannical Snow Wolf to make such a decision. From the way the Tyrannical Snow Wolf had abandoned Half-Supremacy Tiger, it could be seen that this fellow had no loyalty to Half-Supremacy Tiger. Bastard, you're courting death. Seeing that the tyrannical snow wolf was about to betray him and recognize Emo Qingyun as his master, half Supremacy Tiger's face darkened. His eyes were filled with intense killing intent, following which, a shocking wave of soul energy was emitted from half Supremacy Tiger's body. Seeing half Supremacy Tiger's actions, Emo Qingyun immediately understood his plan. Half Supremacy Tiger intended to use the soul connection between him and the tyrannical snow wolf to detonate the soul imprint in the tyrannical snow wolf's soul to kill him. After knowing half Supremacy Tiger's plan, Emo Qingyun naturally would not let him have his way. He sneered and said coldly, "Now that the tyrannical snow wolf is my mount, I won't let you hurt him easily." After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he controlled the 9-9 Azure Sea Dark Ice Dragon capturing hands and increased the strength of the Dark Ice Giant Palm. Crack, 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 due to the force exerted by the Dark Ice Palm, the crisp sound of bones cracking could be heard from half Venerate Tiger's body. Puff, the bones in his body were crushed by the mystic Ice Giant Palm. Immediately, half Venerable Tiger spat out a mouthful of blood. His face turned extremely pale. At the same time, half Venerable Tiger's attempt to capture the tyrannical snow lion was interrupted by the intense pain in his body. Emo Qingyun didn't stop after interrupting half Venerable Tiger's attack. He continued to control the Dark Ice Giant Palm to crush half Venerable Tiger's body. Soon, the bones in half Venerable Tiger's body were crushed by the Dark Ice Palm. His body became like a puddle of mud. Seeing that his physical body had been destroyed, half Venerable Tiger subduing did not hesitate any longer. He immediately ejected his soul out of his body. Emo Qingyun, this old man will remember what happened today. In the future, this old man will definitely make you pay back tenfold. As half Venerate Tiger's subdued soul left his body, Emo Qingyun saw a ray of gray light fly out of his head and fly off into the distance at an extremely fast speed. This was half Venerable Tiger's soul. He had abandoned his physical body to escape. Half Venerable Tiger subduing, you won't have the chance to do so. Just stay here obediently. In response to half Venerable Tiger's harsh words, Emo Qingyun's expression was cold. His left eye flashed with a thick purple light. As the purple light flashed in Emo Qingyun's left eye, a terrifying bloodline aura was emitted from his body. This is the bloodline power of the Heavenly Soul Demon Tribe. When Emo Qingyun's bloodline power of the Heavenly Soul Demon Tribe was released, the tyrannical snow lion's face twitched. He was extremely shocked. Although he had never seen the Heavenly Soul Demon Tribe before, he had records of the Heavenly Soul Demon Tribe in his inherited memories. This was why divine beasts were more powerful than other demonic beasts. They could pass down their memories to their descendants through the power of their bloodline. The tyrannical snow lion was the descendant of the dragon tribe. As such, he naturally received some of the inherited memories of the dragon tribe. Of course, as the bloodline of the dragon tribe in his body was thin, he received very little of the inherited memories of the dragon tribe. Even so, the tyrannical snow lion's knowledge and experience far exceeded that of other demonic beasts and humans of the same cultivation level. Master actually has the bloodline of the Heavenly Soul Demon Tribe. If that's the case, it's a blessing for me to be able to become his mount. At this moment, the tyrannical snow lion was no longer unwilling to submit to Emo Qingyun. In his opinion, even if he was the descendant of the ancestral dragon, there was nothing shameful about submitting to someone from the Heavenly Soul Demon Tribe. According to his memories, the Heavenly Soul Demon Tribe was even more powerful than the Dragon Tribe in the Wasteland continent. Just as the tyrannical snow lion was shocked, a purple soul light shot out from Emo Qingyun's left eye. Poochie! The soul light attack was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it hit the soul of half Venerable Tiger. Ah! Damn brat, the Divine Beast Mountain will not let you off. After being hit by the soul light, half Venerable Tiger screamed in pain. His soul slowly dissipated in midair. Seeing this, the expressions of the surrounding people changed. They looked at Emo Qingyun in a different light. Demi-venerable tiger, who had extremely high attainments in soul cultivation, was actually annihilated by Emo Qingyun. This scene was simply too out of everyone's expectations. What was that soul light attack? It could easily destroy half-venerable tiger's soul. It could be Emo Qingyun's gifted superpower. I didn't expect Emo Qingyun to be so skilled in soul cultivation. Do you think Emo Qingyun is the reincarnation of an ancient almighty? Otherwise, how could he know so many terrifying techniques? It doesn't matter if Emo Qingyun is the reincarnation of an ancient almighty. One thing is for sure. Emo Qingyun is not someone we can offend. That's right. When I return to the sect, I must warn the disciples not to provoke Emo Qingyun. Seeing Emo Qingyun use the soul light, the surrounding people's respect for him increased by several times. After destroying half-venerable tiger's soul, Emo Qingyun put away his corpse and turned to look at Qilian. Although half-venerable tiger's skeleton had been crushed, the power of his flesh and blood was still there. Qilian could refine it to increase his cultivation. Seeing Emo Qingyun looking at Qilian, the tyrannical snow lion's expression changed. He looked at Emo Qingyun and asked, "Master, Mr. Qi is fighting with half-venerable tyrannical spear. Should we go and help him?" Given Qilian's current cultivation, killing half-venerable tyrannical spear is more than enough. Emo Qingyun shook his head and rejected the tyrannical snow lion's suggestion. He then said, "The reason Qilian didn't kill half-venerable tyrannical spear is probably because he wants to use him to train himself and get used to the power of a half-venerable faster." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the tyrannical snow lion didn't say anything else. He quietly squatted beside Emo Qingyun. Chapter 976. Young Lord, it has been settled. After killing demigod tyrannical spear, Qilian revealed a respectful expression and walked in front of Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun nodded and took out a qiankuan bag. He handed it to Qilian and said, "This is demigod tiger's body. Take it." "Thank you, young lord." Qilian was pleasantly surprised when he took the qiankuan bag from Emo Qingyun. He quickly expressed his gratitude to Emo Qingyun. If he could refine demigod tiger and demigod domineering spear's flesh, their cultivation would be greatly enhanced. They might even reach the peak of demigod realm. Emo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently at Qilian's gratitude. He rode on the tyrannical snow swanee and flew towards the people of Sky Pool Sacred Mountain. He said, "Elders, because of me, the reopening banquet of Sky Pool Sacred Mountain has been delayed. I am very sorry. Mr. Emo, you are being too serious. We all believe that this was not Mr. Mo's intention." The elders of Sky Pool Sacred Mountain were nervous when they heard Emo Qingyun's apology. They waved their hands repeatedly. What a joke! This was someone who could easily kill a demigod venerable. How could they accept his apology so easily? Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and shook his head when he saw the actions of the elders of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. He said, "Now that I have settled my personal matters, let's continue with the banquet." "All right." The elders of Sky Pool Sacred Mountain were delighted when they heard Emo Qingyun's suggestion. They gestured to Emo Qingyun and said, "Mr. Emo, please." In their eyes, Emo Qingyun was too reasonable. It would be a great fortune for them if they could befriend him in the Sky Pool Sacred Mountain. As for whether this would offend the 3 sacred mountains, the elders of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain didn't think about it. In any case, the relationship between the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain and the 3 sacred mountains wasn't good. Even if the relationship between the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain and the 3 sacred mountains worsened because of Emo Qingyun, they wouldn't care at all. If they were able to befriend Emo Qingyun, the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain would gain another powerful ally. This would be the best outcome. Everyone, I've delayed everyone's enjoyment of the banquet just now because of me. Let's take our seats again. Emo Chinyun had an indifferent expression on his face as he glanced at the people from the various sections. His tone carried a hint of threat. Mr. Emo, you're exaggerating. Mr. Emo, please. We have been waiting for young Master Emo Chinyun. This is our greatest fortune. Under Emo Chinyun's cold gaze, the faces of the people from the various sects twitched. One by one, they smiled apologetically at Emo Chinyun. Then, the crowd followed behind Emo Chinyun and returned to their seats at the banquet. They had no choice. Emo Chinyun had even dared to kill a demigod powerhouse from the 3 sacred mountains. How could they dare to be arrogant in front of Emo Chinyun? Unless they were tired of living. More importantly, many of them didn't even have a demigod powerhouse in their sections. How could they compete with Emo Chinyun? Seeing the crowd's reaction, Emo Chinyun nodded his head in satisfaction. He didn't care whether they were willing or not. Seeing that the people from the various sects had returned to their seats, the elders of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain were secretly delighted. Their faces were filled with joyful smiles. They'd been worried that the reopening banquet would be disrupted by the people from the 3 divine mountains. Now, under Emo Chinyun's tyrannical attack, the people from the 3 sacred mountains were all dead. They had no more worries. In addition, Emo Chinyun was here to keep the situation under control. Even if some people were unhappy, they wouldn't dare to say anything. Unless they were tired of living and wanted to end up like the people from the 3 sacred mountains. Then, because of Emo Chinyun's presence, the banquet at the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain's mountain gate went exceptionally smoothly. A few hours later, the banquet for the reopening of the mountain gate finally came to a successful conclusion. As the banquet came to an end, the people from the various sects came to bid farewell to Emo Chinyun. They expressed that their sects were willing to follow Emo Chinyun. From the battle just now, they could see that the power of Emo Chinyun's sect was no less than that of a demigod sect. If they didn't know how to curry favor with someone so powerful, they would really be living like dogs. Emo Chinyun left the fawning of the various sects to Song Luo. He went to find Xiao Yi and Supreme Su Chao. Master, thank you for taking action and repelling the people from the 3 sacred mountains. Supreme Su Chao wore a respectful expression when he saw Emo Chinyun come to his courtyard. He hurriedly knelt down and bowed to Emo Chinyun. Supreme Su Chao already knew that Emo Chinyun had killed the people from the 3 sacred mountains. When he learned that Emo Chinyun had killed a half-step demigod venerable with a 4th-layer demigod cultivation, he was quite shocked. Even though he knew that Emo Chinyun was a reincarnated demigod venerable, it didn't make sense for him to be that strong. However, Supreme Su Chao was still very happy about Emo Chinyun's display of strength. After all, the stronger Emo Chinyun was, the greater their chances of revenge against the 3 sacred mountains would be. Rise. I am the previous leader of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. Naturally, I cannot allow other sects to behave so atrociously. Emo Chinyun smiled and waved his hand at Supreme Su Chao's actions. He walked over to a stone bench and sat down. He said, Su Chao, in 3 days' time, I'll give a lecture on the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. I'll give you some pointers on pill refinement. In a while, pass down this matter and select the people who will listen to me. Master, you're going to teach us pill refinement. Su Chao's face lit up with joy and excitement when he heard this. Emo Chinyun had suddenly disappeared from the Tianhun continent several decades ago. Because of that, they had no one to teach them pill refinement. Even though their pill refinement skills had improved in the past few decades, the rate of improvement had been far too slow. How could Su Chao not be excited to hear Emo Chinyun's advice on pill refinement again? Yes, your disciple will do so immediately. Hearing Emo Chinyun's words, Supremacy Su Chao revealed an excited expression. He was about to pass down the order immediately. Su Chao, wait a moment. Mo Qingyun called out when he saw what Su Chao was about to do. His expression turned serious. Aside from this matter, I have something more important to tell you. The path between the Demon Path and the Tianhan continent has been opened. It won't be long before the demonic cultivators from the Demon Path will invade the continent en masse. You must make preparations to fend them off. The Demon Path. Supreme Su Chao's expression immediately changed when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. His heart immediately became heavy. Even though he was a newly ascended autarch, he had heard of many of the secrets of the Tianhan continent. Outside of the Tianhan continent, there was an even larger world known as the Seven Ancient Paths. Chapter 977. It was said that the Seven Ancient Paths were an even higher level of cultivation than the Tianhan continent. In the Seven Ancient Paths, there were sovereigns at the 9th level of the martial Tao who could move mountains and seas with a wave of their hand. If such an existence were to lead their subordinates to invade the Tianhan continent, it would be a disaster for the continent. Master, if the demonic cultivators of the Demon Path are about to invade the Tianhan continent, should we inform the other sects? After calming down the shock and worry in his heart, Supreme Sepulchre put on a solemn expression and asked for Mo Qingyun's opinion. In Regent Su Chao's opinion, the demonic cultivators of the Demon Path were too powerful. It would be better to inform the other sects to be prepared. We do need to inform the other sects. Mo Qingyun nodded in agreement with Regent Su Chao's opinion. However, this is a matter of great importance. There's no need to inform the smaller sects so that the continent doesn't fall into chaos. Your disciple understands. Master, the invasion of demonic cultivators from the demonic path is far too shocking. Your disciple is worried that some of the sects won't believe it when they hear about it. Mo Qingyun nodded respectfully. Master, the invasion of demonic cultivators from the demonic path is far too shocking. Your disciple is worried that some sects won't believe it. Mo Qingyun didn't mind Regent Su Chao's concern. We don't need to worry about whether the other sects believe it or not. All we need to do is inform them and make sure we have a clear conscience. Understood. Regent Su Chao nodded with a clear plan in mind. After that, Mo Qingyun gave Regent Su Chao a few more instructions before leaving him to make the necessary arrangements. Mo Qingyun didn't leave his residence after Regent Su Chao left. Instead, he entered a room and began to cultivate. After entering the room, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and entered the second floor of the 5-directional pagoda. I wonder if I can enter the 3rd floor now that I've reached the 4th level of the 5 Directions Tower? Looking at the entrance to the 3rd floor in front of him, Mo Qingyun revealed an expression of anticipation and walked towards the 3rd floor of the 5 Directions miniature pagoda. As Mo Qingyun walked towards the entrance of the 3rd floor of the 5 Directions small pagoda, a terrifying pressure weighed down on him. Under the suppression of this pressure, Mo Qingyun could be said to be struggling to move. With every step he took, the pressure on his body doubled. When Mo Qingyun reached the stairs leading to the 3rd floor, he felt like 100 mountains were weighing down on him. He couldn't even straighten his body. What terrifying pressure! Feeling the pressure on his body, Mo Qingyun's expression couldn't help but change. Shock rose in his heart. He didn't expect that it would still be so difficult for him to enter the 3rd floor of the 5-directional pagoda even though he was already at the 4th level of the God Realm. Mo Qingyun took a step forward and landed heavily on the stairs, making a loud noise. After Mo Qingyun stepped on the stairs, an even more terrifying pressure weighed down on him. Mo Qingyun's expression changed drastically when he felt the pressure. He exclaimed, "Willpower! It's the willpower of a Supreme Being. It seems like I'll have to break through to the Supreme Being realm before I can enter the 3rd floor of the 5 Directions Tower." After this discovery, Mo Qingyun stopped thinking about it and turned to leave the entrance to the 3rd floor of the 5 Directions small pagoda. After sensing the willpower, He knew that with his current cultivation, it was impossible for him to enter the third floor of the Five Directions miniature pagoda. Emo Qingyun's expression changed when he gave up on entering the third floor of the Five Directions tower. He thought to himself, I wonder if I can cultivate the third style of the Fiend Fist Shattering Galaxy and the Five Directions Heaven Breaking technique with my current cultivation of the Four Directions Divine Power. With this thought in mind, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and began to try to cultivate the Fiend Fist Shattering Star River and the Five Direction Heaven Breaking technique. The result was the same. He failed to cultivate the two martial arts. It seems like my cultivation is still too low. Even if I have powerful martial arts manuals, I can't cultivate them. Emo Qingyun sighed inwardly when he saw that his two attempts had failed. He clenched his fists and said with a determined expression, If that's the case, I'll have to speed up my cultivation and break through to the half-supreme being realm as soon as possible. With this thought, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He raised his hand and took out a large amount of core yuan crystals. Compared to elemental spirit stones, the elixir energy crystals contained was purer and richer. It was easier to absorb. Emo Qingyun took out the elixir energy crystals and placed them around his body. He then sat down cross-legged and activated the devouring gate. Under the absorption of the devouring gate, the elixir energy contained in the elixir energy crystals was quickly extracted and poured into the devouring gate. As the devouring gate absorbed the elixir energy crystals and channeled it into Emo Qingyun's body, Emo Qingyun refined it with all his might. As Emo Qingyun refined the elixir energy in his body, his cultivation rose rapidly. Soon, he broke through the early stage of the fourth level of the divine power realm. As time passed, Emo Qingyun's cultivation rose little by little. Time always passed very quickly during cultivation. In the blink of an eye, 2 months had passed in the Five Directions small pagoda. At this moment, Emo Qingyun, who was cultivating, slowly opened his eyes. The limit of the fourth level of the divine power realm. Sensing his current realm, Emo Qingyun frowned slightly and sighed in his heart. Just one more step and my cultivation can enter the fifth level of the divine power realm. What a pity! If others were to hear Emo Qingyun's words, they would definitely be scared to death. Since the five-directional small pagoda used a time-shifting array, only 3 days had passed in the outside world. In just 3 days, Emo Qingyun's cultivation rose from the peak of the early stage of the fourth level of the divine power realm to the peak of the fourth level of the divine power realm. What a frightening cultivation speed! Emo Qingyun sighed in his heart. He stopped thinking about it and left the five-directional small pagoda. 3 days have already passed. I wonder how Su Chao's arrangements are going? Emo Qingyun returned to his room. He opened the door and walked out, thinking about how he was going to guide everyone in refining pills. Master, you're done with your cultivation? Seeing Emo Qingyun walk out of his room, Supreme Su Chao, who was sitting in the courtyard, greeted him with a faint smile. Yes. Emo Qingyun nodded with a faint smile as he watched Supreme Su Chao approach. He asked, Su Chao, have you made any arrangements for me to give a lecture and guide everyone in pill refinement? Replying to Master, everything has been arranged properly. Supreme Su Chao revealed a stern expression when he heard that. He reported the progress of the matter to Emo Qingyun, then asked, Master, what are we going to do? Since that's the case, bring me there. Emo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction. He told Supreme Su Chao that he was going there right away. Yes. Chapter 978. The person who taught them the art of alchemy was actually Emo Qingyun, who had displayed his prowess before. Seeing that the person teaching was Emo Qingyun, the elders and disciples of Sky Sword Sacred Mountain were all shocked. Could it be that Emo Qingyun knew alchemy? At that moment everyone was filled with doubt. They felt that it was unreal and they could not accept what was happening. However, Due to Emo Qingyun's status and power, no one dared to show any disrespect. Emo Qingyun did not care about the crowd's reaction. He calmly explained to the crowd. Seeing that Emo Qingyun was speaking, everyone's expression turned serious as they listened attentively to Emo Qingyun's knowledge of alchemy. As the crowd continued to listen, the shock on their faces became more and more intense. They realized that Emo Qingyun's knowledge and understanding of alchemy was far beyond their imagination. After a while, everyone looked at Emo Qingyun in a different light. At this moment, Emo Qingyun's image in everyone's hearts was no longer that of a young man in his 20s. Instead, he was an immortal-like expert. As everyone listened attentively, Emo Qingyun's narration became much smoother, and the speed of his narration sped up. Under Emo Qingyun's continuous explanation, the elders and disciples of Sky Pool Sacred Mountain entered a state of intoxication. The knowledge of alchemy that Emo Qingyun spoke of was a completely new understanding to them. It opened a whole new door for them. Emo Qingyun's lecture went on for 7 days and 7 nights. After 7 days and 7 nights, Emo Qingyun realized that the crowd's acceptance of new knowledge had reached a limit. If he continued, not only would the crowd not be able to absorb more knowledge, it would also affect the knowledge they had memorized. As Emo Qingyun stopped his explanation, the crowd closed their eyes and immersed themselves in the knowledge they had learned. Seeing this, Emo Qingyun slowly stood up and walked out of the classroom. "Master, I'll send you off." Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Paragon Suchao hurriedly stood up and sent Emo Qingyun off. Emo Qingyun did not stop Paragon Suchao's actions. He nodded indifferently and said, "Suchao, since I'm done with my lecture, I'll be leaving Sky Pool Sacred Mountain now." "Master, you're leaving Sky Pool Sacred Mountain?" Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Paragon Suchao was shocked. He was extremely surprised. In his opinion, now that the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain had been rebuilt, as the previous owner of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, Emo Qingyun should be staying in the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. "Yes." Emo Qingyun nodded sternly in response to Paragon Suchao's surprise. He said worriedly, "A few days ago, I killed the people of the 3 sacred mountains during the banquet. I'm worried that they will seek revenge on Qingyun Palace. As such, I need to return to Qingyun Palace." Givenly he and the others' personalities, they won't just let it go after suffering such a huge loss. We do need to be wary of them. Paragon Suchao nodded in agreement when he heard Emo Qingyun's words. He said, "Master, why don't I go with you to Qingyun Palace? If anything happens, I'll be able to lend you a hand." "There's no need." Emo Qingyun waved his hand with a faint smile in response to Sovereign Suchao's suggestion. He replied, "The Divine Mountain of Heaven Pool has just been rebuilt. There are still some matters that need to be taken care of, so you need to remain here. You cannot leave so easily." "Yes, I understand." Paragon Suchao no longer insisted after hearing Emo Qingyun's words. He obeyed Emo Qingyun's arrangement. Emo Qingyun was right. Sky Pool Sacred Mountain had just been rebuilt. It was inevitable that there would be some troubles. Sky Pool Sacred Mountain couldn't do without him. Qingyun Palace doesn't have any Supremes, but even if a Supremes were to invade, he wouldn't be able to gain any advantages. Emo Qingyun smiled and comforted Paragon Suchao, as if he was worried that Paragon Suchao was still worried. Paragon Suchao's expression changed when he heard Emo Qingyun's words. Surprise and curiosity rose in his heart. Qingyun Palace was actually this powerful? Paragon Suchao truly couldn't imagine that Emo Qingyun would be able to create such a powerful organization after just a dozen years of recultivation. It was just too surprising. After that, Emo Qingyun and Paragon Suchao chatted as they walked, discussing the hidden dangers of Sky Pool Sacred Mountain. 15 minutes later, Emo Qingyun separated from Paragon Suchao and left Sky Pool Sacred Mountain with Song Luo and the others. "Tyrant Snow, let's go." After arriving at the Sky Pool Sacred Mountain's gate, Emo Qingyun rode on the back of the tyrant Snow Swanee and ordered it to return to Qingyun Palace. After receiving Emo Qingyun's orders, the tyrant Snow Swanee didn't dare to hesitate. It respectfully carried Emo Qingyun forward. Looking at Emo Qingyun riding on the tyrant Snow Swanee, Wang Quan and the others revealed expressions of reverence. Their eyes were filled with fanaticism and worship. In their eyes, Emo Qingyun was probably the #1 person in the heavenly soul continent to have a demonic beast mount at the 4th level of the transcendent realm. In the following time, Emo Qingyun and the others returned to Qingyun Palace together. On the way back to Qingyun Palace, it could be said to be very smooth. They didn't meet anyone who didn't know their place. A few days later, Emo Qingyun and the others returned to Qingyun Palace. This is Qingyun Palace? Looking at the huge palace in front of them, Wang Quan and the others were shocked. In their hearts, they revered Emo Qingyun even more. Not to mention the strength of the disciples of Qingyun Palace, just based on the size of the sect, it wasn't the slightest bit inferior to a paragon sect. We respectfully welcome the young lord. When Emo Qingyun walked into Qingyun Palace, the Iron Wing and the others who knew that Emo Qingyun had returned hurriedly went to welcome Emo Qingyun. No need for such formalities. Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and waved his hand in response to the Iron Wing and the others' actions. He asked, "Iron Wing, has Qingyun Palace been attacked in the past few days?" Replying to the young lord, Qingyun Palace has been fine recently. It hasn't been harassed in the slightest. In response to Emo Qingyun's question, the Iron Wing revealed a serious expression and reported to Emo Qingyun about the recent situation in Qingyun Palace. That's good. After listening to the Iron Wing's report, Emo Qingyun's expression relaxed slightly. He nodded with satisfaction and said, "Iron Wing, you are more familiar with Sky Sword Sacred Mountain, Sky Spear Sacred Mountain, and Beast Sacred Mountain. Next, I have an important task for you to do." Hearing this, the Iron Wing immediately stopped and made a gesture of volunteering. "Young lord, please give the order. The Iron Wing will definitely complete it." "All right." Chapter 979. Yes. Hearing this, Iron Wing nodded and prepared to complete Emo Qingyun's task. However, just as the Iron Wing was about to turn around and leave, his gaze fell on the lion tyrant Snow. The Sky Sword Sacred Mountain had a good relationship with the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain. Hence, the Iron Wing knew a little about the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain's half-venerable tiger Subdue. He knew that the Imperial Beast Sacred Mountain's half-venerable tiger Subdue had a battle beast called the Tyrannical Snow Swanee. Tyrannical Snow Swanee, half-venerable subduing tiger's beast? Looking at the Tyrannical Snow Lion beside Emo Qingyun, Iron Wing revealed a surprised expression. He was somewhat surprised by the appearance of the Tyrannical Snow Lion. The Tyrannical Snow Lion was half-venerable tiger Subdue's beast. Shouldn't it be following half-venerable tiger Subdue? Why would he appear beside Emo Qingyun? At this moment, a wave of doubt arose in the Iron Wing's mind. He could not understand what was happening. "King Iron Wing, long time no see." Seeing Iron Wing looking at him, Tyrannical Snow shook his head and greeted Iron Wing. "Are you curious as to why I am here?" Iron Wing nodded and curiously looked at Tyrannical Snow. Half-venerable tiger Subdue wanted to harm Master, but he was killed by Master. After that, Master gave me a way out and made me his mount. Tyrannical Snow looked at Emo Qingyun and explained what had happened, explaining why he had appeared here. Half-venerable tiger is dead? After listening to Tyrannical Snow's narration, Iron Wing suddenly revealed a shocked expression. He felt that this was hard to believe. According to Tyrannical Snow, didn't this mean that half-venerable tiger Subdue had died at the hands of Emo Qingyun? However, Emo Qingyun was only at the peak of the 4th level of the Transcendent Realm. How did he manage to kill half-venerable tiger? Furthermore, half-venerable Tiger was not an ordinary half-venerable. He even had a half-venerable beast. In other words, if Mo Qingyun wanted to kill half-venerable Tiger Subdue, he would need to have the ability to crush two half-venerables. Mo Qingyun had such strength? Iron Wing's heart was full of doubts. It was not that he did not believe in Mo Qingyun, but this matter was too mysterious. After a short while, Iron Wing calmed down and turned to look at Mo Qingyun. He asked, "Young lord, did you really?" "Ba Shui is right. I did kill half-venerable Tiger Subdue." Mo Qingyun nodded solemnly in response to Iron Wing's question. After a moment of thought, he said, "Back then, the people of the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain, the Beast Sacred Mountain, and the Sky Sword Sacred Mountain worked together to deal with me and Qi Lian next." Mo Qingyun briefly explained the situation to Iron Wing and the others. After hearing Mo Qingyun's story, Iron Wing and the others felt their heads buzzing. They were shocked by Mo Qingyun's words. Mo Qingyun had actually killed two half-venerables and almost 100 transcendent realm experts with his own strength. This was too ferocious. Unbeknownst to them, the strength that Mo Qingyun possessed had actually risen to such a terrifying degree. Hiss! Young lord, what amazing combat strength! Immediately after, Tai Yi sucked in a breath of cold air. The way he looked at Mo Qingyun changed drastically as he thought to himself, with young master's terrifying battle strength, even the geniuses of the Wasteland's continent will pale in comparison. That's the gist of what happened. Just keep it to yourself. There's no need to spread it within the sect. After giving a simple explanation to everyone, Mo Qingyun instructed them before turning to Iron Wing and saying, "Iron Wing, if there's nothing else, take the eye demons and wipe out those sections. Perhaps I'll need the eye demons to protect the sect in the near future." "Yes, young lord." Iron Wing nodded and turned to leave. "Let's go in." Seeing Iron Wing leave, Mo Qingyun nodded to Song Luo and the others, indicating for them to enter Qin Yun's palace. Everyone nodded in response to Mo Qingyun's words. They followed Mo Qingyun into Qin Yun's palace. Song Luo, I've already informed Supreme Su Chao. If the Mist Pond sect wishes to submit to the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain once more, he will select a mountain near the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain for you to build your Mist Pond sect there. On the way into Qin Yun's palace, Missouri Qingyun turned to Song Luo and the others and instructed them. Song Luo, and the others were stunned when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. Their hearts were filled with surprise and astonishment. They were surprised that the Misty Pond sect would submit to the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain again so easily. The Misty Pond sect now had a powerful backing. What shocked them was that Mo Qingyun was actually able to instruct Supreme Su Chao to do something for him. Wasn't that just a little too impressive? At that moment, while Song Luo and the others were shocked, Mo Qingyun continued after a moment of silence. "Of course, if you want to submit to Qin Yun's palace, you can establish a sect near it. However, I've killed the people of the three divine mountains. If you establish a sect near Qin Yun's palace, they might take their anger out on you. As for what to do, you can discuss it later." Song Luo and the others were stunned when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. They never thought that Mo Qingyun would actually say something like that. Very soon, Song Luo and the others came to a decision. They looked at Mo Qingyun with solemn expressions. "Master, I've decided. I'll establish a sect near Qin Yun's palace. From now on, the Misty Pond sect will be a subordinate force of Qin Yun's palace." In Song Luo and the others' eyes, Qin Yun's palace had even greater potential than the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain. It was very likely that it would become the #1 force in the Heavenly Soul continent in the future. However, they would be taking a very big risk by doing so. However, opportunities and dangers often coexisted. They were willing to gamble with the Misty Pond sect's future. Back then, the reason why Song Luo and the others made such a decision was not only because they saw the potential of Qin Yun's palace, but also because he had become Mo Qingyun's in-name disciple. From Song Luo's point of view, although Mo Qingyun did not acknowledge him as a disciple, he had to acknowledge Mo Qingyun as his master. Since that was the case, how could he stay away from Qin Yun's palace just because it was in trouble? All right, I will instruct Qi Lian later, and let him choose a location for the Misty Pond sect. Mo Qingyun nodded indifferently at Song Luo's decision. He instructed him, Qi Lian is currently in closed-door cultivation. I'm afraid he won't be able to arrange a location for you. Since that's the case, you will stay in Qin Yun's palace for a few days. When Qi Lian's closed-door cultivation ends, I will have them arrange a location for you. Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Song Luo and the others nodded respectfully. After that, Mo Qingyun instructed Song Luo and the others again. Then, he let Xia Yunjin take them to rest. After settling Song Luo and the others, Mo Qingyun went to meet the Mo family and check on their situation. With the help of sufficient cultivation resources and the guidance of many experts, their cultivation had improved greatly. Now, the cultivation of the Mo family's juniors had reached the Heaven Star Border realm. The older generation was basically at the advanced Heaven Star Border realm. Chapter 980. After meeting the Mo clan, Mo Qingyun went to the residence of Yi Wuyo, Wen Zhaodi, and the other girls to ask about their recent situation. During the conversation with the girls, Mo Qingyun corrected and gave some pointers to the girls' cultivation situation. However, to Mo Qingyun's surprise, Wang Zishu left Qin Yun Palace a few months ago. Zishu left. Hearing Wen Zhaodi's story, Mo Qingyun was surprised by the news. After a brief moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun frowned and began to ponder. Zishu has a reincarnation mark on her body. Could it be that she has awakened the memories of her previous life? When Mo Qingyun thought of this, he no longer hesitated and asked Wen Zhaodi, Zhaodi, before Zishu left Qin Yun Palace, did she have any abnormal behavior? Abnormal behavior? Wen Zhaodi frowned slightly and began to ponder. She pondered for a moment and said, she didn't have any abnormal behavior, but in the past year, Zishu's cultivation had increased very quickly. When she left Qin Yun Palace, her cultivation had already broken through to level 4 of the divine power. Level 4 of the divine power. Mo Qingyun was shocked by Wen Zhaodi's words. He was very surprised by Wang Zishu's cultivation speed. After a brief moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding and said to himself, it seems that Zishu's reincarnation mark has loosened, allowing her to awaken part of her memories. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was frowning and thinking silently, Wen Zhaodi had a difficult expression and pleaded, young lord, I have left the Wen clan for many years. I want to return to the Wen clan after some time. Return to the Wen clan? Hearing Wen Zhaodi's words, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He understood Wen Zhaodi's feelings and thought to himself, now that the passage between the Demon Road and the Tianhan continent has opened, many demonic cultivators have entered the Tianhan continent. It is indeed not safe for the Wen clan to stay in Ice Glaze City. After thinking about this, Mo Qingyun made a decision and looked at Wen Zhaodi with a serious expression. There are many hidden dangers in the Tianhan continent now. It is not safe for you to return to the Wen clan alone. Wait a few days, I will accompany you to Ice Glaze City. The reason why Mo planned this plan was mainly because he was worried that Wen Zishu would encounter demonic cultivators on the way to the Tianhan continent. Wen Zhaodi didn't know what Mo Qingyun was thinking. After hearing this, she said with an excited expression, Young lord, you will come with me to Ice Glaze City? She couldn't believe that Mo Qingyun wanted to send her to Ice Glaze City. This flattered her too much. At this moment, Wen Zhaodi suddenly felt that all her efforts over the years were worth it. Emo Qingyun smiled faintly at Wenjiaoti's shock and asked Wenjiaoti in return, "What's wrong? Don't tell me you don't want me to accompany you." "No, no." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Wenjiaoti quickly shook her head and denied it. Her charming face was slightly red as she said, It's just too unexpected. Young lord, you are so naughty." After saying this, Wenjiaoti revealed a shy expression. She lowered her head and didn't say anything else. Seeing Wenjiaoti's performance, Emo Qingyun rubbed his nose and suddenly felt speechless. Subsequently, Emo Qingyun stopped teasing Wenjiaoti and said to Wenjiaoti with a faint smile, "Okay, make some preparations in the next few days. After I finish dealing with the matters at hand, I will go with you to Ice Glaze City." "Okay." Wenjiaoti revealed a secretly delighted and touched expression. She obediently nodded in response and turned to return to her room. Seeing Wenjiaoti return to her room, Emo Qingyun didn't continue to stay and headed towards He Xian's residence. Unfortunately, He Xian had entered secluded cultivation a few days ago in an attempt to break through to the pseudo-venerable level. Knowing this, Emo Qingyun didn't disturb He Xian any longer. He left He Xian's residence and began to set up a defensive formation for Qingyun Palace. Although it had been some time since the construction of Qingyun Palace, Missouri Qingyun hadn't had the time to set up a defensive formation for Qingyun Palace due to various delays. Now that he had returned to Qingyun Palace, he naturally couldn't delay any longer. After all, he had made enemies with the three divine mountains not long ago. In order to prevent Qingyun Palace from falling into a passive position when the three divine mountains attacked, it was necessary to set up a defensive formation for the sect. Seeing Emo Qingyun set up a defensive formation for Qingyun Palace, Song Luo and the others were shocked again. They were greatly shocked by Emo Qingyun's actions. At this moment, Emo Qingyun had become an omnipotent existence in their hearts. As Qingyun Palace occupied a large area, Emo Qingyun spent a lot of time setting up the formation this time. It took him half a month's time. While Emo Qingyun was setting up the formation, Qi Lian had successfully refined half-venerable Tiger Subdue and half-venerable Domineering Spear's bloodline power, increasing his cultivation by a step. With the help of half-venerable Tiger Subdue and half-venerable Domineering Spear's bloodline power, Qi Lian's cultivation had risen to the limit of half-venerable. He was only one step away from the Supremacy realm. However, this step was extremely difficult to cross. If he didn't have the opportunity, he might not be able to cross it in his lifetime. However, Qi Lian wasn't in a hurry. His current cultivation had far surpassed that of his previous life. For him, this was already a huge leap. Moreover, since he had met Emo Qingyun, his cultivation had been advancing by leaps and bounds. Now, he needed to stabilize his cultivation. After Qi Lian's seclusion ended, he followed Emo Qingyun's instructions and went to arrange a sect for Song Luo and the others. After Emo Qingyun finished setting up the formation, he accompanied Wenjiaoti to Ice Glaze City. On the way to Ice Glaze City, Emo Qingyun didn't bring anyone else. He only rode on the tyrannical snow lion with Wenjiaoti. Emo Qingyun thought to himself, with his current strength, he could even fight against a Supremacy realm expert. In that case, there was no need for him to bring his entourage along. Moreover, He Xian was in seclusion now. The Iron Wing had gone to wipe out the other sections. Qingyun Palace was still facing the threat of the three sacred mountains. If Qi Lian left with him, Qingyun Palace wouldn't have a single expert to guard it. This obviously wouldn't do. Moreover, the tyrannical snow lion was a half-venerable expert. It was more than enough to deal with the problems encountered on the way to Ice Glaze City. Not only was the tyrannical snow lion a half-venerable expert, but it was also the descendant of an ancient divine beast. Its flying speed was undoubtedly extremely fast. Emo Qingyun estimated that with the tyrannical snow lion's full speed, it would take more than a month to reach Ice Glaze City from Qingyun Palace. Seeing that it would take a month to reach Ice Glaze City, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and brought Wenjiaodi into the Five Directions Pagoda to cultivate. Chapter 981. After entering the five-directional miniature pagoda, Mo Qingyun gave Wenjiaodi some instructions before entering the second floor. Arriving at the second floor of the five-directional pagoda, Mo Qingyun sat down cross-legged and began cultivating. As Mo Qingyun began to cultivate, his aura grew stronger and stronger until it reached a critical point. He was about to break through to the fifth level of the divinity tier. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated. He immediately gathered the energy in his body and prepared to break through to the fifth level of the divinity tier. One day later, Mo Qingyun's aura suddenly rose to a whole new level. His cultivation had broken through to the fifth level of the divinity tier. After breaking through to the divinity tier, Mo Qingyun didn't stop cultivating. Instead, he continued to cultivate and stabilize his current level. The time that followed slowly passed by as Mo Qingyun cultivated. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. At this moment, Mo Qingyun, who was cultivating on the second floor of the five-directional pagoda, finally withdrew from his cultivation. Peak midstage of the fifth level of the divinity tier. Sensing his cultivation, Mo Qingyun's expression turned serious. He thought to himself, after breaking through to the divinity realm, the further I advance, the harder it becomes. If I want to break through to the divinity realm, I'll need to spend at least 3 times the amount of time to break through to the divinity realm from the divinity realm. It seems that it'll be very difficult for me to reach Demi-Exalt before the demonic cultivators from the Demon Road invade the Tianhun continent. Thinking about the invasion of the demonic cultivators from the Demon Road, Mo Qingyun felt like he was sitting on a bed of needles. It's already been a month. I wonder if I've reached the Ice Glaze City? Mo Qingyun sorted out his emotions and stopped thinking about other things. With a flash, he left the second floor of the five-direction pagoda. Soon, Mo Qingyun appeared in front of Wenjiaodi and took her away from the five-directional towers. Leaving the five-directional pagoda, Mo Qingyun and Wenjiaodi appeared on the back of Tyrannical Snow and asked, "Tyrannical Snow, where are we now? How far are we from Ice Glaze City?" "Master, according to the route you gave me earlier, we are about half a day away from Ice Glaze City." Hearing Mo Qingyun's inquiry, Tyrannical Snow respectfully responded. His tone became somewhat heavy as he continued. However, in the past few hours, this subordinate discovered that many ancient formations and taboos had appeared on the way to Ice Glaze City. "Oh, is there such a thing?" Hearing Tyrannical Snow's words, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately shook. He was somewhat surprised by this situation. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was surprised, Tyrannical Snow was silent for a moment before speaking again. "Master, recently on the Heavenly Soul continent, ruins from ancient times have been appearing constantly. This subordinate guesses that ancient ruins may also appear in the surrounding areas of Ice Glaze City, which would lead to the emergence of various ancient formations and taboos." Ancient ruins? Hearing this, Mo Qingyun's brows furrowed slightly. He was surprised by Tyrannical Snow's words. This situation was somewhat beyond his expectations. However, at the same time that Mo Qingyun was surprised, his heart was also filled with anticipation. In ancient times, the cultivation civilization of the Heavenly Soul continent had gradually declined. But even so, in ancient times, there were still countless experts in the Heavenly Soul continent, and there was no lack of Ninth Realm Martial Dao Dominator experts. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, if he could encounter the ruins of a Dominator expert, it would definitely be an incredible fortuitous encounter. Of course, the ruins of a Dominator expert were extremely rare, and it was not so easy to encounter them. This kind of thing could only be encountered by chance and not sought. Next, as Mo Qingyun continued to approach Ice Glaze City, they encountered more and more cultivators on the way. Under Mo Qingyun's perception, there was no lack of experts with high-level divine ability cultivation among them. This situation really surprised Mo Qingyun. What happened to Ice Glaze City? How could it attract so many experts? Could it be that ancient ruins have really appeared? Looking at these people who appeared on the way, Mo Qingyun felt puzzled in his heart. He could not help but somewhat believe Tyrannical Snow's guess. Of course, when Mo Qingyun thought so, he also rejoiced in his heart. Fortunately, this time he came to Ice Glaze City with Wenjiaodi. Otherwise, with the current situation, it was definitely not something that Wenjiaodi could deal with. After thinking so, Mo Qingyun's expression became a little more dignified, and he said worriedly, "So many divine ability experts have gone to Ice Glaze City. I wonder how the Wen clan is now?" Several hours later, under Tyrannical Snow's full flight, Mo Qingyun and the others finally arrived at Ice Glaze City. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that Ice Glaze City had turned into a mess at this moment, as if it was an ancient battlefield. After seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun released his soul power and sensed Ice Glaze City. My soul power is blocked by a hidden power in Ice Glaze City? Sensing the abnormality in Ice Glaze City, Mo Qingyun immediately frowned, and a sense of shock rose in his heart. Now that his soul power cultivation had reached the late stage of the divinity realm, he was not far from the Wanxiang realm. But even so, his soul power still could not spread, which was somewhat abnormal. It could be seen that there were indeed some secrets in Ice Glaze City today. Among the 8 major forces in Ice Glaze City, even the strongest E-clan was only at the advanced Heavenly Dipper realm. Now that such an unforeseen event had suddenly occurred in Ice Glaze City, the situation of the 8 major forces in Ice Glaze City was probably not very optimistic. "Young lord, what do we do now? Will anything happen to the Wen clan?" Seeing the scene in Ice Glaze City, Wenjiaodi showed a worried expression and asked Mo Qingyun. At this moment, in Wenjiaodi's heart, there was no doubt that Mo Qingyun was the backbone. "Don't worry, let's enter Ice Glaze City first and go to the Wen clan's mansion to take a look." In response to Wenjiaodi's worry, Mo Qingyun showed a dignified expression and comforted her. Later, Mo Qingyun took Wenjiaodi to the front of the Wen clan's mansion. To Mo Qingyun's disappointment, the Wen clan's mansion was now a mess, and there was no sign of anyone walking around. After seeing this scene, Wenjiaodi's face turned pale, and her expression was full of worry. Was the Wen clan gone just like that? Chapter 982. I understand. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Wenjiaodi nodded and wiped away the tears at the corners of her eyes. Her complexion improved a lot. Seeing that Wenjiaodi's complexion improved, Mo Qingyun's expression relaxed a little, and he took Wenjiaodi to find someone to inquire about the situation. Soon, Mo Qingyun and Wenjiaodi arrived outside Ice Glaze City and ran into a middle-aged man who was rushing over. "Excuse me, friend, do you know what happened in Ice Glaze City? Where did the people of Ice Glaze City go?" Mo Qingyun walked up to the other party with a humble expression and asked him about the situation in Ice Glaze City. Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the other party stopped and sized up Mo Qingyun and Wenjiaodi before saying, "Both of you, from what you've said, you should have just arrived at Ice Glaze City, right?" "That's right." Mo Qingyun nodded. "So that's how it is. No wonder you don't know about the situation in Ice Glaze City." Seeing Mo Qingyun and Wenjiaodi's expressions, the man revealed a look of understanding, and his expression became solemn as he said, 3 months ago, an ancient battlefield hidden beneath Ice Glaze City was unearthed and evolved into countless ancient formations and taboos. Due to the appearance of such a strange phenomenon, all the clans and sects that once resided in Ice Glaze City have moved out of Ice Glaze City. As for where they went, I'm not very sure. So all the major forces have moved out of Ice Glaze City. Hearing this man say so, Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi's expressions relaxed, and the worry in their hearts lessened a lot. So it seemed that the people of the Wen clan should have evacuated and not lost their lives in Ice Glaze City. Since the Wen clan has moved to Ice Glaze City, there shouldn't be any danger. Emo Qingyun consoled Wen Zhaodi, and then he paused for a moment and pondered for a moment before he said, "Presently, we don't know where the Wen clan has moved to. If we go there directly, it would undoubtedly be no different than looking for a needle in a haystack. Why don't we stay in Ice Slave City for a few days and inquire about the Wen clan's whereabouts?" Yes. In response to Emo Qingyun's suggestion, Wen Zhaodi didn't even think about it and immediately nodded in agreement. To her, Emo Qingyun must have his reasons for making such arrangements. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the person to the side smiled faintly and invited Emo Qingyun, "You too, there are many fierce spirits in the vicinity of Ice Glaze City. If you two want to stay here, it would be best for you to become sworn brothers. This way you can look after each other." "Many thanks for brother's good intentions, I understand." Hearing this, Emo Qingyun's expression changed slightly. He cupped his hands and thanked the person before he said, "In that case, we will bid farewell here. See you again someday." AI. Seeing Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi's reactions, the person sighed, knowing that Emo Qingyun didn't take his words to heart. "Brother, please wait a moment." After sighing, the person revealed an unbearable expression and hurriedly called out to Emo Qingyun, "You too, the underground passage 1.5 miles west of Ice Glaze City is the entrance to the ancient battlefield. It's best that you two don't rashly enter, so as to avoid encountering powerful fierce spirits in the battlefield. The entrance to the ancient battlefield is 1.5 miles west of Ice Glaze City?" Hearing this, Emo Qingyun revealed a curious expression, intending to go to the ancient battlefield to take a look. He said to Wen Zhaodi, "Zhaodi, there must be many cultivators who have entered the ancient battlefield. If we also go in, perhaps we can ask those people where the Wen clan migrated to. And then let's go to the ancient battlefield now." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Wen Zhaodi's expression changed, revealing an impatient expression. With that, Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi didn't say anything else and directly prepared to go to the ancient battlefield. AI. Why are these two so stubborn? Seeing Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi's actions, the person to the side suddenly revealed a bitter smile, his heart instantly depressed to the extreme. Was he advising them to seek fortune and avoid calamity? Why did it feel like he was advising Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi to go to their deaths? Thinking of this, the person no longer hesitated and hurriedly shouted to Emo Qingyun, "Brother, why are you so stubborn? With your cultivation, it will be very dangerous if you enter the ancient battlefield." Hearing this person's exasperated words, Emo Qingyun's gaze towards him changed slightly, and a favorable impression of him grew in his heart. This person had repeatedly advised him, so it could be seen that he was an upright and warm-hearted person. Emo Qingyun didn't find it strange that this person would have such thoughts. On the surface, his and Wen Zhaodi's cultivation was indeed somewhat low. Now, just as Emo Qingyun was feeling grateful to this person, the person gritted his teeth, sighed, and said, "How about this? It just so happens that I'm going to enter the ancient battlefield with a few friends. Why don't the two of you come with me? This way, the safety of the two of you will be more guaranteed." Hearing this person's words, Emo Qingyun's favorable impression of him involuntarily improved a little. Now, it seemed that this person was really a warm-hearted person. "In that case, I'll have to trouble you, brother." Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and thanked the other party with cupped fists, accepting the other party's good intentions. Emo Qingyun thought to himself, he wasn't familiar with the ancient battlefield, so it wouldn't be a bad idea to have this person to lead the way. "You're welcome, it's nothing much." Seeing that Emo Qingyun was willing to go with him, this person instantly heaved a sigh of relief, as if thinking that he had finally persuaded Emo Qingyun. Then, this person revealed a hearty smile, patted his chest and said, "I'm Han Bai, may I know your name?" "Emo Qingyun, this is my cousin, Wen Zhaodi." After hearing the other party's words, Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and introduced the two of them. Han Bai didn't think too much about Emo Qingyun's introduction and didn't suspect the relationship between Wen Zhaodi and Emo Qingyun. Then, Emo Qingyun and Han Bai exchanged a few words and followed Han Bai to find his friends. About 15 minutes later, under Han Bai's guidance, Emo Qingyun met Han Bai's friend of the past 3 months. Han Bai's 3 friends were Lang Lei, Zuoxing, and Wu Lian. Their cultivation was the same as Han Bai's, at the 7th level of the divine power. Among them, Wu Lian's cultivation was the highest, at the peak of the 7th level of the divine power. She was the leader of Han Bai's group. Han Bai, this little brother and little sister are? Looking at Emo Qingyun beside Han Bai, Wu Lian and the other two were curious and asked about Emo Qingyun and Luo Xing's background. When the 3 of them asked Han Bai, their expressions clearly revealed a sense of wariness. Clearly, the 3 of them were wary of Emo Qingyun and Luo Xing and didn't seem to welcome Emo Qingyun and Luo Xing. Chapter 983. This is Brother Emo Qingyun, and the one beside him is his cousin, Wen Zhaodi. I got to know them on the way. Han Bai pointed at Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi and introduced them to Wu Lian and the rest. The 2 of them are also planning to enter the ancient battlefield, so I invited them to come along. At that time we can take care of each other. Taking care of each other is one thing, but I'm afraid it's not very good to always let one side take care of the other. After hearing Han Bai's words, Ma Lei revealed a look of disdain and said sarcastically. The meaning of his words couldn't be more obvious. He was indirectly saying that if Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi were to follow them, they would have to take care of Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi. However, they weren't willing to take care of Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi. They wanted to use this to make Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi leave on their own accord. After hearing Ma Lei's words, Zuoxing frowned slightly and said, Han Bai, bringing a person with a cultivation of level 5 and level 1 of divine power into the ancient battlefield is indeed an unknown choice. If we encounter any unforeseen circumstances, even if the 4 of us go all out, I'm afraid we won't be able to take care of their safety. This, after hearing Zuoxing's words, Han Bai's brows furrowed as a sense of difficulty rose in his heart. Zuoxing's words were true. The ancient battlefield could be said to be extremely dangerous. Bringing Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi into the ancient battlefield would indeed be quite troublesome. If they really encountered any danger, as Zuoxing said, it would be useless even if the 4 of them went all out. However, he had already promised Emo Qingyun and Wen Zhaodi previously. It wasn't his style to suddenly go back on his word. This demonic beast mount is not bad. It seems like it has some background. At this moment, while Han Bai was hesitating, Ma Lei had a surprised look on his face. He looked at the tyrannical snow beside Emo Qingyun and said, "Boy, this mount of yours looks pretty good. If you are willing to give this mount to me, perhaps I can consider bringing the 2 of you along." "Give you my mount?" After hearing Ma Lei's words, the expressions of Wen Zhaodi and Ba Shui changed. They looked at Ma Lei as if they were looking at an idiot. If he were to know that Lion Tyrant Snow was a half-revered realm expert, it was unknown whether he would still dare to say such words. Seeing Ma Lei's action, Emo Qingyun looked at him unhappily. He walked to Han Bai's side and said, "Brother Han, thank you for your good intentions. Since your friend doesn't welcome us, Zhaodi and I will leave first." "Brother Emo, wait a moment." After hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Han Bai quickly walked in front of Wu Lian and pleaded, "Sister Wu Lian, I was the one who found Brother Emo and Lady Wen. They will follow us into the primordial battlefield, and I will be responsible for their safety. There's no need for the 3 of you to do anything. What do you think?" Hearing Han Bai's words, Mo Qingyun looked at Han Bai with even more admiration. After hearing Han Bai's words, Wu Lian frowned as hesitation rose in her heart. Since you've said so, then let them follow us. Wu Lian pondered for a moment and nodded in agreement to Han Bai's request. She then changed the topic and said, however, if they encounter any danger, we won't care if they live or die. Don't worry, we will take care of our own safety. You don't have to worry about it. In response to Wu Lian's cold words, Mo Qingyun replied indifferently and expressed his thoughts. If not for Han Bai's face, he would have left with Wenjiaodi. Besides your safety, we also have to inform you of the distribution of the treasures obtained in the primordial battlefield in advance. Just as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, Ma Lei, who was at the side, continued to provoke them. The two of you can follow us, but they have no right to distribute the treasures obtained in the primordial battlefield. After Ma Lei said this, not only did Mo Qingyun and Han Bai's expressions change, even Wu Lian frowned. Obviously, she also felt that Ma Lei's request was a little too much. Ma Lei, isn't this request of yours too much? Hearing Ma Lei's excessive request, Han Bai's face immediately showed displeasure as he questioned him. Ma Lei chose to ignore Han Bai's displeasure and said with a disdainful expression, If the two of them are unwilling, they can go to the primordial battlefield by themselves. They don't have to follow us. After Han Bai heard this, he immediately pointed at Ma Lei angrily and was speechless. This Ma Lei was really too much. Sister Wu Lian, since this is the case, I can only follow Brother Mo and the rest. After pondering for a short while, Han Bai cupped his fists at Wu Lian and walked towards Mo Qingyun. Brother Mo, the two of you can rest assured. Since I, Han Bai, have said that I will follow you, I will definitely not leave you behind. Thank you. Hearing Han Bai's words, Mo Qingyun nodded gratefully and turned to the side. Since this is the case, Brother Han, let's go. All right. Han Bai nodded and walked quickly in front of Mo Qingyun, intending to lead Mo Qingyun and Han Bai into the primordial battlefield. Stop right there. Seeing that Han Bai was about to lead Mo Qingyun and Han Bai away, Ma Lei's face suddenly darkened and he shouted at Mo Qingyun and the rest. Ma Lei, what else do you want? Hearing this, Han Bai stopped and turned to look at Ma Lei. His eyes were filled with anger. Although Han Bai was easy to talk to, it didn't mean that he wouldn't speak. Being made difficult by Ma Lei, he would naturally be angry. What's the matter? Han Bai, are you playing dumb with me? Seeing Han Bai's expression, Ma Lei curled his lips and sneered. Han Bai, don't tell me that you don't know the purpose of our gathering. Now that you're leading these two alone, are you trying to take all the spoils by yourself? After hearing Ma Lei's words, Wu Lian and Zhou Xing's gazes turned cold as they looked at Han Bai. Their bodies emitted a cold killing intent. At this moment, Wu Lian and the rest seemed to want to silence Han Bai so that they could protect their purpose of coming here. I, Han Bai, am not as shameless as you, Ma Lei. It's just a small ancient tomb. I, Han Bai, will not stoop to doing something as treacherous as this. Han Bai looked at Ma Lei's cautiousness with a mocking gaze as he spoke disdainfully to Ma Lei. Empty words have no proof. If you really promise that you won't go back, then swear an oath to me right now. Chapter 984. Ma Lei, don't go too far. Even a clay figurine had a temper. Under Ma Lei's insatiable greed, Han Bai finally got angry. Ma Lei's actions had crossed his bottom line, and he could no longer tolerate it. Why? You don't dare to swear an oath because you're guilty? Ma Lei did not take Han Bai's anger to heart at all. He continued to sneer at Han Bai. Get lost. Seeing Ma Lei's expression, without waiting for Han Bai to speak, Mo Qingyun impatiently yelled at him coldly. Wu Lian and the others felt a chill down their spines when they heard Mo Qingyun's yell. Emo Qingyun gave them the feeling that he was a ferocious beast, filling their hearts with fear. Then, the way they looked at Emo Qingyun changed. They wanted to see through Emo Qingyun. However, no matter how they looked at him, Emo Qingyun was still a level 5 divine power. There was nothing special about him. This feeling was simply too strange for them. Kid, you're courting death. Ma Lei's face darkened when he saw that Emo Qingyun, a level 5 divine power, dared to yell at him. Then, Ma Lei leaped up and threw a punch at Emo Qingyun. Ma Lei, you've gone too far. Han Bai's face darkened when he saw Ma Lei's action. He raised his hand to block Ma Lei's punch for Emo Qingyun. Bang! After a muffled sound, a powerful yuan power fluctuation burst out from Han Bai's and Ma Lei's palms. Han Bai and Ma Lei's bodies shook under the fluctuation of this yuan power, and they continuously retreated backward. Han Bai and Ma Lei's strength were similar. The two of them were pushed back more than 10 meters before they managed to stabilize their bodies. Han Bai, you can't protect this kid today. After Ma Lei steadied himself, he glanced at Han Bai with a gloomy expression. Then, he leaped up again and threw another punch at Emo Qingyun. Wu Lian frowned when she saw Ma Lei's action. She quickly raised her hand to stop Ma Lei and said, Ma Lei, stop. Sister Wu Lian, what are you? Ma Lei was confused when he saw Wu Lian stop his attack. He asked Wu Lian in return. He didn't understand. With the three of them working together, they were confident that they could kill Han Bai and the other two. Once they killed Emo Qingyun and the other two, they could keep the secret of the tomb. Why did Wu Lian stop him? Ma Lei was confused by Wu Lian's action. At that moment, before Ma Lei could finish speaking, Wu Lian raised her hand and interrupted him. She said in a deep voice, I trust Han Bai's character. I believe he won't do something as treacherous as that. Let the three of them go. Thank you, Sister Wu Lian. Han Bai thanked Wu Lian when he saw that she agreed to let the three of them leave. He turned and walked towards Emo Qingyun and said, Brother Emo, let's go. And Emo Qingyun nodded and left with Han Bai with Wenjiaodi. Sister Wu Lian, why did you stop me? Ma Lei was confused when he saw Emo Qingyun and the other two walking away. He asked Wu Lian why she stopped him. That kid is dangerous. Wu Lian seemed to have expected Ma Lei to ask such a question. After Ma Lei spoke, she replied with a heavy tone, although that kid is only at the 5th level of the God Realm, the feeling he gave me just now was even more terrifying than a peak God Realm expert. It made my heart palpitate from the bottom of my heart. This feeling is too strange, so I have no choice but to be careful. I had the same feeling just now. I thought I was wrong. I didn't expect Sister Wu Lian to have the same feeling. Hearing Wu Lian's words, Zhuoxing revealed a solemn expression and voiced his thoughts. Wu Lian and Ma Lei's expressions froze when they heard Zhuoxing's words. They could faintly feel that something was amiss. One person could be wrong. However, if two people had the same feeling at the same time, it would be very unusual. Perhaps Emo Qingyun was really dangerous. It was just that they hadn't realized it yet. Forget it. Let's not bother about them. Wu Lian thought hard but to no avail. She didn't want to think about Emo Qingyun and the other two anymore. She said in a serious tone, Since Han Bai has left, let's set off too. We should head to the ancient tomb as soon as possible to avoid unnecessary changes. Alright. Wu Lian and the other two didn't stay any longer. They got up and headed towards the ancient battlefield. When Wu Lian and the other two entered the ancient battlefield, Missouri Qingyun and the other two had already arrived at the entrance of the tunnel. They entered the ancient battlefield through the tunnel. As soon as Emo Qingyun entered the ancient battlefield, he realized that his vision had become much dimmer. His vision in the ancient battlefield was hazy, just like the weather before a thunderstorm. He could only see a distance of 1,000 meters in front of him. Apart from that, Emo Qingyun also felt that the activation of his yuan power was greatly suppressed in the ancient battlefield. After this feeling appeared, Mo Qingyun realized that the ancient battlefield was an independent space, just like the space within the 5-directional small pagodas. However, the internal space of the ancient battlefield was larger and more stable than the internal space of the 5-directional small pagodas. Seeing Mo Qingyun's surprised expression, Han Bai revealed a grave expression and said, "The ancient battlefield is an independent space. The origin source energy in it is also an independent entity. The origin source energy that we have comprehended can only be unleashed by 50%. In other words, we can only unleash 50% of our strength in the ancient battlefield." It seems that this ancient battlefield is indeed not simple. After hearing Han Bai's words, Mo Qingyun had a rough understanding of the ancient battlefield. If my guess is correct, Wu Lian and the rest should head east after entering the ancient battlefield. The 3 of us should head west. This way we can avoid meeting them. After scanning the surroundings, Han Bai raised his finger and pointed to the west of the ancient battlefield as he suggested to Mo Qingyun and Li Wuyo. "Alright." Mo Qingyun nodded indifferently and agreed with Han Bai's suggestion. To Mo Qingyun, it didn't matter which direction they headed in. Anyway, he just needed to find someone to ask about the One clan's whereabouts. In addition, Mo Qingyun felt that it was better to avoid meeting Ma Lei and the rest, lest it affected his mood. As they walked towards the west of the ancient battlefield, some warriors who came to the ancient battlefield to try their luck gradually appeared in Mo Qingyun's line of sight. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and asked them about the One clan's whereabouts one by one. What disappointed Mo Qingyun was that these people didn't know about the One clan's whereabouts. Their understanding of the situation in Ice Glaze City was basically the same as Han Bai's. Chapter 985. As Mo Qingyun and company continued heading west, they gradually entered the inner regions of the primordial battlefield. The number of people they encountered decreased significantly. In addition to the number of people they encountered along the way, they also encountered many dead souls and ghosts that bared their fangs and brandished their claws at them. These dead souls and ghosts were not strong, only at the beginner level of god art. They were easily killed by Mo Qingyun and the other 2. Sob, 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 sob. At this moment, a series of low and sinister cries entered the ears of Mo Qingyun and the others. After the cries, a series of green lights appeared in front of them, giving off a gloomy and terrifying feeling. "Oh no, it's a specter!" After seeing the ghostly lights in front of them, Han Bai's expression changed greatly. He said to Mo Qingyun and Mo Wuji beside him, "Brother Mo, the strength of these spirits is much stronger than the souls of the dead and the ghosts. The strong spirits even have spiritual intelligence and know how to seize a person's body to be reborn. I will hold them back. The 2 of you quickly leave this place." While Han Bai was speaking, the few specters in front exuded a cold aura and arrived within 100 meters of Mo Qingyun and the other 2. These spirits were not weak. Judging from the aura they emitted, they should be comparable to God Art's Level 7 experts. After this discovery, Han Bai's expression immediately became serious, revealing intense nervousness and worry. A few specters that were comparable to the 7th level of the transcendent powers weren't something he could defend against. Moreover, he still had to continue protecting Mo Qingyun and Mo Qingyun. This is bad. If Wu Lian and the other 2 were here, we might be able to fight against Spectre by combining our strength. But now or sigh. Han Bai could not help but sigh as he thought of the situation the 3 of them would be in. Despair rose in his heart. The way Han Bai saw it, 6 specters with level 7 divine ability cultivation were absolutely not what they could contend against. They were dead for sure this time. Seeing Han Bai's expression of despair, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and comforted him. "Brother Han, you don't have to worry too much. It's just a few spirits of the 7th level, I can still handle them." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Bai's expression could not help but be stunned. He was surprised that his ears had misheard. Of course, while Hanbai was shocked, he was also puzzled. These were specters at the 7th level of the God Art realm. With Emo Qingyun's cultivation at the 5th level, how could he defend against their attacks? Brother Emo, this spirit strength is very strange. You can't underestimate it. You should take Miss One and leave. After a brief moment of confusion, Han Bai revealed a solemn expression and once again instructed Emo Qingyun. In his opinion, Emo Qingyun's current performance was due to his blind confidence in his own strength and his lack of understanding of the ghost. Han Bai had fought with Spectre before, so he knew how terrifying they were. Therefore, he absolutely didn't believe that Emo Qingyun could deal with several 7th-level specters with his 5th-level divinity ability cultivation. With regards to Han Bai's doubts, Emo Qingyun did not explain. He directly wielded the colorless sword and slashed towards the specter. In Emo Qingyun's opinion, any further explanation would be useless. It was more effective to directly attack. 3 origins as one. Emo Qingyun waved the colorless sword and instantly slashed out a magnificent 3-colored sword radiance. It swept towards the few spectre in front of him. Brother Emo, be careful. The spectre are very strong. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Han Bai's expression changed drastically. He shouted anxiously and panically at Emo Qingyun. However, before Han Bai could finish speaking, his eyes widened as he froze on the spot. The spectre were all dead? Under Emo Qingyun's casual slash, these spirits of the 7th level of the God Art realm were killed by Emo Qingyun's sword. This scene was simply unbelievable to Han Bai. At this moment, Han Bai's mind went blank. He did not know what to say. Was Emo Qingyun really at the 5th level of the God Art realm? How could a person at the 5th level of the God Art realm possess such powerful combat strength? Han Bai suddenly realized that his worldview had been shattered. He could not see through Emo Qingyun anymore. At this moment, he finally understood why Emo Qingyun dared to bring Wen Zhaodi into the primordial battlefield alone. The combat strength that Emo Qingyun displayed just now was not any weaker than a level 8 God Art realm expert. He was completely qualified to enter the primordial battlefield. That slash of Brother Mo's seemed to contain 3 types of Xiantian origin powers. Recalling the elegance of Emo Qingyun's slash, Han Bai's eyes suddenly widened. An intense shock rose in his heart once again. 3 types of Xiantian origin powers. Emo Qingyun had actually comprehended 3 types of Xiantian origin powers. This discovery shocked Han Bai quite a bit. In his experience, he seemed to have never seen such a person, let alone seen one. He had never even heard of one. Brother Mo's talent is terrifying. Just who is he? Could he be one of the 8 Sacred Mountains geniuses? At this moment, Han Bai's mind was filled with countless thoughts as he tried to guess Emo Qingyun's identity. Because the Heavenly Pool Sacred Mountain had only been rebuilt recently, Han Bai did not know that it had been rebuilt. He still thought that there were only 8 sacred mountains on the Tianhan continent. But the result was obvious. No matter how hard Han Bai thought, he could not find a person that matched Emo Qingyun's identity. Just who is Brother Emo? Looking at Emo Qingyun in front of him, Han Bai's curiosity and doubt grew stronger. Emo Qingyun ignored Han Bai's thoughts. He walked in front of Han Bai and smiled. Brother Han, the spirits have been dealt with. Let's go. Oh, okay. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Han Bai was dazed for a moment before he hurriedly nodded in agreement. Emo Qingyun and the other 2 continued to go deeper into the primordial battlefield. They searched for people to ask about the One clan's whereabouts, and also looked for opportunities in the primordial battlefield. In the following time, Emo Qingyun encountered many departed spirits, ghosts, and spirits, but he did not encounter any that were at the advanced level of the Transcendent God tier or above. Emo Qingyun's group of 3 didn't encounter any specters, specters, or ghosts blocking their way, so their journey was undoubtedly much smoother. At this moment, another group of spirits appeared in front of Mo Qingyun and the other two, emitting a shocking aura. These spirits were not weak. They were all at the 6th or 7th level of the transcendent god tier. More importantly, there were more than 100 of them. Brother Mo, what do we do? Looking at the spirits blocking their way, Han Bai's expression turned grave. He turned to ask Mo Qingyun beside him. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's strength, he had already treated Mo Qingyun as his backbone. Everything was arranged by Mo Qingyun. At that moment, Han Bai's words had just left his mouth when a huge black palm that was dozens of meters long came flying through the sky. As soon as this huge palm appeared, it grabbed the spirits, departed spirits, and ghosts in front of Mo Qingyun and the other two and flew back. The aura of the Heavenly Soul Demon Clan. Is there a Heavenly Soul Demon Clan expert here? Chapter 986. After the giant black palm caught those specters, it emitted a terrifying power, refining and absorbing the specters in its hand at an extremely fast speed. Not long after, these spirits turned into streams of pure energy and merged into the giant black palm. Mo Qingyun's expression changed drastically when he saw this. He exclaimed in shock, "This is the Heavenly Soul Demon Exterminating Soul Devouring Palm. I didn't think that there would be another Heavenly Soul Demon on the Heavenly Soul continent. Just who is he?" Mo Qingyun was even more curious after he confirmed that the other party was a Heavenly Soul Demon. He wanted to see just who he was. What a terrifying technique! Could this be the attack of a half-exalt? While Mo Qingyun was shocked, Han Bai also had a shocked expression as he looked at the giant black palm that had suddenly appeared in front of him. Of course, at the same time that Han Bai was shocked, he was even more alarmed and frightened. He truly hadn't expected that a quasi-venerable would appear here. Mo Qingyun didn't want to waste any time after he saw the origin of the black palm. He turned to Han Bai and Wen Zhaodi and said, "Brother Han Zhaodi, let's go and take a look." Han Bai's expression changed when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He revealed a terrified expression and said, Brother Mo, please don't be rash. The person who attacked just now is very likely a half-exalt. It's best if we don't provoke him." In Han Bai's opinion, Mo Qingyun's strength wasn't bad, but there was still a huge gap between him and a half-exalt. If that was the case, it wouldn't be good if Mo Qingyun's actions angered the other party. "Haha, don't worry. We're just going to take a look. We're not going to make enemies with that half-exalt." Mo Qingyun smiled faintly in response to Han Bai's worries and comforted him. After that, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and rushed in the direction of the giant black palm. Compared to Han Bai's understanding of the Heavenly Soul Demons, Mo Qingyun was undoubtedly more familiar with them. Although that person's attack just now gave off the feeling that he was a half-step venerable, Mo Qingyun knew in his heart that the other party only possessed strength that far surpassed that of a half-step venerable. He wasn't a true half-step venerable. Moreover, even if his opponent was a quasi-venerable, Mo Qingyun was not afraid of him. Mo Qingyun was confident that even if he couldn't defeat his opponent wouldn't be able to stop him if he wanted to leave. Sigh. As Han Bai didn't know Mo Qingyun's true strength, he couldn't help but sigh when he saw Mo Qingyun's actions. Presumably, Han Bai thought that Mo Qingyun's actions were too reckless and did not consider the seriousness of the consequences. However, Han Bai sighed and followed Mo Qingyun. Not long later, Mo Qingyun and the other two arrived at the place where the black palm had appeared. It was a pity that the person who had unleashed the Heavenly Soul Demon Exterminating Soul Devouring Palm had already left. Mo Qingyun sensed his surroundings and couldn't find the other party's figure. He couldn't help but reveal a regretful expression as he said, "I didn't expect to be a step too late." It's a pity that I didn't meet that person. A pity? Han Bai was stunned when he heard Emo Qingyun's words. His emotions instantly became complicated. He wished that he hadn't met that person, but Emo Qingyun actually felt that it was a pity. The difference between them was really too great. After a short moment of silence, Han Bai revealed an anxious expression and urged Emo Qingyun, "Brother Emo, since that senior has left, shall we leave this place too?" "Yes." Emo Qingyun didn't know what Han Bai was thinking and nodded his head. Following which, Emo Qingyun and the other two didn't stay any longer and started to head to other places in the ancient battlefield. They inquired about the whereabouts of the One Clan and searched for the ancient tombs of the ancient powerhouses. 2 days later, under Emo Qingyun's continuous inquiries, he finally found some clues about the whereabouts of the One Clan. According to the few people he asked, the One Clan seemed to have gone to the Great Yen Dynasty and planned to seek refuge with a force there. They went to the Great Yen Dynasty? After knowing the whereabouts of the One Clan, Emo Qingyun revealed a look of understanding and understood the intentions of the One Clan. If Emo Qingyun's guess was correct, the One Clan had gone to the Great Yen Dynasty to seek refuge with him. Perhaps to the One Clan, Emo Qingyun was still in the Great Yen Dynasty. Therefore, they planned to go to the Great Yen Dynasty to find Emo Qingyun. "Young lord, what are we going to do now?" After knowing the whereabouts of the One Clan, Wen Zhaodi revealed a look of anticipation and asked Emo Qingyun about his plans. "Since we know the whereabouts of the One Clan, let's leave the ancient battlefield." Seeing the look of anticipation on Wen Zhaodi's face, Emo Qingyun made a decision after pondering for a while. "Thank you, young lord." After hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Wen Zhaodi revealed a look of surprise and expressed her gratitude. In response to Wen Zhaodi's words of gratitude, Emo Qingyun nodded his head indifferently. He turned to look at Han Bai and asked, "Brother Han, we plan to leave the ancient battlefield. What do you plan to do next?" "I came to the ancient battlefield to try my luck here. In that case, I will go alone to seek opportunities." In response to Emo Qingyun's question, Han Bai revealed his thoughts with a solemn expression. Boom! At that moment, after Han Bai finished speaking, a golden ray of light rushed out from the ground not far away. After this ray of light rushed out from the ground, it exuded a sense of righteousness, giving off a sense of righteousness, humility, and righteousness. Righteousness of Confucianism. Looking at the golden ray of light in front of him, Emo Qingyun frowned slightly and revealed a look of surprise. After a brief moment of surprise, Emo Qingyun revealed a look of surprise and said, "It seems that the cause of this golden ray of light should be related to a Confucian elite. In that case, it may be an opportunity for Zhaodi." After thinking about this, Emo Qingyun no longer hesitated and said to Han Bai and Wen Zhaodi, "Let's go and take a look." After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure moved and rushed towards the golden ray of light. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Han Bai and Wen Zhaodi did not hesitate and hurriedly followed behind Emo Qingyun. Soon, Emo Qingyun and the other two arrived in front of the golden ray of light and understood the reason for its appearance. The object that emitted the golden ray of light was a skeleton covered with ancient characters that emitted rays of golden light. The skeleton of an elite that has surpassed the Supreme Being realm. Chapter 987. What kind of war happened in the ancient times? How could such an expert have fallen here? Emo Qingyun frowned slightly as he looked at the skeleton that was shining with golden light. He was very curious about the primordial battlefield. While Emo Qingyun was shocked, a strange black fruit tree appeared in front of him. There were many strange runes on the strange black fruit tree. They emitted a dark light. Apart from that, there were also some crystal-like black fruits growing on the strange fruit tree. They were emitting pure dark energy. Evil demon fruit. Emo Qingyun was delighted when he saw the fruits on the strange black fruit tree. He said excitedly, I didn't expect to encounter such a spiritual object in the ancient battlefield. No wonder so many people came here to try their luck. Usually, there will be the skeleton of a powerful demonic cultivator in a place where the evil demon fruit appears. When he thought up to here, Mo Qingyun glanced at the surroundings, and his brows knit together tightly. He was puzzled, but there doesn't seem to be any powerful devil cultivators here, and there's only the skeleton of a Confucian path expert. Then how did the evil devil fruit appear here? As confusion appeared in his heart, Mo Qingyun released his soul power and probed around the evil demon Luo Guo. After probing for a while, Mo Qingyun's expression changed slightly, and he let out a soft cry of surprise. He sensed an obscure energy fluctuation below the black devil Luo fruit tree, which gave him a sense of dread. Mo Qingyun did not hesitate. He raised his hand and waved at the roots of the evil demon fruit tree. Mo Qingyun waved his hand. A pure yuan power turned into a breeze and pushed away the soil at the roots of the evil demon fruit tree. Bang! As the soil at the roots of the evil demon fruit tree was pushed away, 9 strange bamboo shoots with golden light appeared in front of Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun's expression changed when he saw the 9 bamboo shoots with golden light. He said excitedly, These are righteous bamboo shoots. I didn't expect such a spiritual object to grow around the evil demon fruit tree. After a short moment of surprise, Mo Qingyun was relieved when he saw the skeleton of the Confucian expert next to him. With such a powerful Confucian expert's skeleton here, it was natural for the righteous bamboo shoots to grow. When Mo Qingyun saw the evil demon Luo fruit and overwhelming righteousness bamboo shoots, he did not immediately pick them. Instead, he looked around with a solemn expression. The evil demon fruit tree was a treasure for refining one's yuan power. After refining it, the purity of one's yuan power could be increased by 10%. The righteous bamboo shoots were even more mysterious. Not only could it refine one's mind, but it could also increase the strength of one's soul power. It could also allow the martial artist's heart to be filled with righteousness, which would reduce the martial artist's mental state from being disturbed by external demons during the process of cultivation. 2 such precious spiritual objects were here, but they were not harmed at all. This situation was a bit strange. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, the only reason for this was that there was a terrifying existence guarding nearby. Therefore, Mo Qingyun could not be anxious. He had to wait patiently and figure out the danger lurking in the dark. Next, time passed little by little. 2 hours, 4 hours, 16 hours, 1 day later. The vicinity of the evil demon fruit tree and righteous bamboo shoots was still as calm as before. There was no abnormality. However, the sense of crisis in Mo Qingyun's heart became several times stronger. Soon after this feeling appeared, Mo Qingyun had an intuition that the danger lurking in the dark was about to emerge. At this time, Han Bai was puzzled. He turned to look at Mo Qingyun and asked, Brother Mo, we have been here for an entire day. If there is really danger, why don't I feel it at all? Brother Han, the reason you can't feel the danger is because your mental state cultivation is not at the level to deal with it. In response to Han Bai's puzzled words, Mo Qingyun showed a dignified expression and explained to him, If I'm not wrong, the other party is already somewhat impatient. What we need to do now is to waste time with him until he can't take it anymore. Now that Mo Qingyun's mental state cultivation had surpassed the sovereign realm, it was normal for him to feel the danger. After hearing Mo Qingyun's explanation, Han Bai did not ask anymore. He understood the meaning of Mo Qingyun's words. Sure enough, just as Mo Qingyun's words fell, a tiger shadow covered in dark runes flew out from the black evil demon Luo fruit tree, emitting the terrifying aura of a quasi-venerable expert. Is this the tree spirit of the black evil demon Luo fruit tree? Looking at the tiger shadow covered in dark runes, Han Bai was shocked. He guessed the origin of the other party. No, this is not the tree spirit of the black evil demon Luo fruit tree. It should be the vengeful spirit of the almighty demon who gave birth to the black evil demon Luo fruit tree. After hearing Han Bai's words, Emo Qingyun corrected his guess in a heavy tone and said, "It seems that there should be the corpse of an almighty demon under the black evil demon Luo fruit tree. Just a wisp of consciousness is comparable to a quasi-venerable expert." After hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Han Bai was stunned. He felt his mind go blank. In his eyes, a quasi-venerable expert was already a near-invincible existence. Just a wisp of consciousness was comparable to a quasi-venerable expert. What kind of powerful existence was that? Han Bai already had no idea. Such an existence completely exceeded the scope of his knowledge. While Han Bai was feeling shocked, the tiger shadow looked at Emo Qingyun with an expression of admiration and said, "Little child, I didn't expect you to be so knowledgeable. You're actually able to see through my origins." After uttering those words of praise, the expression of the black rune tiger changed, instantly becoming sinister as it said in a cold voice, "However, I won't be the slightest bit soft-hearted towards you because of this. If I were to seize your 5-element spiritual body, I believe that it won't be long before I'll be able to completely recover my cultivation." You're actually able to see through my constitution. The existence under the black evil demon Luo fruit tree is indeed extraordinary. Hearing the tiger shadow's words, Emo Qingyun's expression changed. A trace of vigilance rose in his heart. Although he wasn't afraid of the other party's origins were too shocking. It was necessary to be cautious. Just as Emo Qingyun's vigilance rose, the 9 boundless righteous bamboo shoots suddenly flourished with golden light. A mighty voice sounded, "Evil creature, you've become so savage." Chapter 988. As soon as the golden shadow appeared, it emitted an astonishing aura that crushed towards Master Mo Yuan. Faced with the suppression of the golden shadow's aura, the black tiger shadow's figure shrunk a little. Its sinister tiger face twisted into a smile as it said, "GGG, Master Wen Xian, could it be that you're also unable to hold back? You want to steal one of their bodies and reincarnate?" As the black tiger shadow spoke, it looked at Wen Zhaodi and sneered, "That little girl's physique is the extremely rare pseudo-Wen Yun physique. It's quite suitable for you to steal and reincarnate. Evil creature, don't speak nonsense." Hearing the words of the black rune tiger silhouette, Lord Wen Xian immediately berated it. Then, he formed a series of hand seals and began to mutter incantations. Following that, golden runes flew out from Venerable Lord Wen Xian's mouth. They transformed into golden rune lotuses that crushed towards the black rune tiger's silhouette. "Old ghost Wen Xian, don't go too far. Could it be that you think I, Master Mo Yuan, am afraid of you?" Seeing Master Wen Xian's attack, the black tiger's shadow roared furiously and waved its long black tiger tail. Dark Sky Demonic Seal, Demonic Lightning Seal. Under Master Mo Yuan's wave, a terrifying black rune imprint rapidly condensed in the air and met Master Wen Xian's golden lotus. Chi chi chi. When the black rune imprint and the golden rune imprint collided, lightning flashed and thunder roared, forming a terrifying energy field. Under the influence of this force field, the plants, rocks, broken armors, and broken weapons that were enveloped by him were instantly turned into dust and completely dissipated in the space. What a powerful technique! Let's quickly retreat. Seeing Master Wen Xian and Master Mo Yuan's attack, Emo Qingyun's expression immediately turned serious. He hurriedly protected Han Bai and Wen Zhaodi as they retreated. Domain Gate. As Emo Qingyun retreated, he didn't forget to execute his martial soul's ability, forming a domain around the 3 of them to resist the corrosion and attack of the force domain. Very quickly, Emo Qingyun protected Han Bai and Wen Zhaodi from the shockwaves of the power domain. At this moment, The area 5 kilometers in front of Mo Qingyun's group had been completely enveloped by the energy domain, and it emanated a destructive might. This terrifying might gave people the feeling that even if a half-exalt expert were to enter it, they would be instantly blasted into nothingness. Just what kind of existences are these two? Just a casual attack from them caused such a terrifying shockwave from the battle. Looking at the empty space in front of him, Han Bai's expression kept trembling. He was shocked by the battle between Venerable Master Wenxian and the others. Wenxian? Looking at the golden figure in front of her, Wen Zhaodi revealed a puzzled expression. She seemed to have thought of something, but couldn't completely recall it. After a brief moment of confusion, Wen Zhaodi's eyes suddenly lit up. She looked at Venerable Master Wenxian in front of her and said excitedly, "You your ancestor Wenxian?" Hearing Wen Zhaodi's surprised words, Venerable Master Wenxian's expression changed slightly. A light flashed in his eyes as he scanned Wen Zhaodi's body. Under Venerable Master Wenxian's gaze, a scroll imprint flew out from between Wen Zhaodi's eyebrows, exuding a majestic aura. Seeing the scroll imprint fly out from between Wen Zhaodi's eyebrows, Venerable Master Wenxian's gaze softened. He smiled in relief. "I never thought that after several 100,000 years, I would actually meet my own descendant in the ancient battlefield. It looks like the heavens are quite kind to me." Judging from this, Venerable Master Wenxian should be the Wen clan's ancestor. His actions earlier seemed to be to confirm Wen Zhaodi's identity. The Wen clan's ancestor? Hearing the conversation between Wen Zhaodi and Venerable Master Wenxian, Mo Qingyun and Han Bai were both surprised. They were somewhat surprised by this scene. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and Han Bai were surprised, Venerable Master Wenxian raised his hand and pointed at the golden skeleton on the ground. He placed it in front of Wen Zhaodi and said, "Since you are my descendant and have met me here, it can be seen that you are fated to meet me. In that case, I will gift this literary immortal bone to you. I hope that you can bring glory to the Wen clan in the future." Looking at the runic skeleton that was flashing with golden light, Wen Zhaodi revealed an emotional expression. She said respectfully to Venerable Master Wenxian, Thank you, ancestor." With that, Wen Zhaodi put away Venerable Master Wenxian's literary immortal bone. She looked at Venerable Master Wenxian with a complicated expression. Her heart was filled with mixed feelings. Seeing Wen Zhaodi put away the literary immortal bone, Venerable Master Wenxian nodded his head in satisfaction. He said to Mo Qingyun and the other two, "Three brats, I will now suppress this demon. The three of you should quickly leave this place." With that, Venerable Master Wenxian no longer cared about Mo Qingyun and the other two. He began to suppress Venerable Master Mo Yuan. Seeing Venerable Master Wenxian's actions, Mo Qingyun frowned. He looked at Wen Zhaodi and Venerable Master Wenxian with a serious expression and said, "The two of you stay here first. I will go in and take a look at the situation." Brother Mo, you still want to enter that area?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Han Bai's expression instantly twitched. He was truly frightened by Mo Qingyun's words. In his opinion, even if a half-venerable expert entered that area, they would end up without a corpse. Although Mo Qingyun's strength was not weak, there was still some distance between him and a half-venerable expert. If he entered that area, wouldn't it be the same as courting death? Brother Mo, Senior Wenxian has already warned us to leave this place immediately. Let's leave quickly. Thinking of Venerable Master Wenxian's words, Han Bai's face revealed a nervous and worried expression. He once again tried to persuade Mo Qingyun. "Brother Han, you don't have to be too worried. If we leave now, wouldn't we not be able to obtain the demonic annihilation fruit and the overwhelming righteous bamboo?" Hearing Han Bai's words, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly. He had no intention of leaving. In his opinion, Although Venerable Master Mo Yuan and Venerable Master Wenxian were strong, they did not pose a threat to his life. If he used all his trump cards, he might be able to kill Venerable Master Wenxian and the others. But, seeing that Mo Qingyun still wanted to enter that area, Han Bai's face immediately revealed an anxious expression. He wanted to continue persuading Mo Qingyun. Brother Han, no need to say any more. I have my own plans. Without waiting for Han Bai to speak, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and interrupted him. He smiled faintly and said, "Don't worry, I haven't lived long enough. I won't treat my life as a joke." "Alright then, be careful." Seeing that Mo Qingyun was so insistent, Han Bai did not say anything more and nodded in agreement with Mo Qingyun's decision. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.